Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we discuss new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover 20 titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and 20 from DriveThru RPG. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel and the creators, but you can also support the channel by purchasing one of our books. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules and our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. And our Feywild companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for both players and DMs. Please support the channel by purchasing those books using the links in the video description. This week's episode features titles that were released between October 22nd through October 28th, 2021. We've got lots of 5th edition content as well as some OSR content this week. Everything from modules to subclasses to monsters. So make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end so you don't miss a title. Programming note before we get started, I had the pleasure of being on the Dungeon Masters Dojo's podcast, and it's linked in the video description in the timestamps. It was a lot of fun. We talked about all the Splinterverse media books, this channel, and the future, so be sure to give that a listen. Up first, you're getting a bonus title this week because Splinterverse Media has released a book as well. It's called Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, and it was designed specifically to help fill in some of the gaps in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, which is a wonderful book, but we knew it wasn't going to cover a lot of player stuff, so we wanted to make sure the players didn't feel left out. So we designed this with that in mind, but it can also stand on its own. It's got all kinds of good stuff inside, starting with that cover. We've got 13 dragon-themed subclasses, one for each class, including the Artificer, including Monk and Ranger, which are covered in the Treasury as well. We wanted to give a second option there. 2 backgrounds so that you can slay dragons as either a dragon hunter or befriend them as a dragon tamer. Then we've got 10 spells, such as Chromatic Cone, Dragon Skin, Rary's Aptitude Appropriator, all kinds of fun spells. 5 feats, 10 magic items of varied type and rarity. So we didn't just make 10 swords. They're all different kinds of magic items so that you can choose the ones that work the best for you. Then we've got 3 of this new type of magic item called the Horde magic item, which is really cool because it has varying rarities based on the age of the dragon. So in each one of these 3 items is really multiple items because you have the uncommon properties all the way through legendary. So depending on how old the dragon is that this item is in its horde, it's going to have different powers. So it's a lot of fun. And the treasury includes some of those, but we wanted to have 3 extra ones so that if you're really into that concept, you'd have some additional options to work with there. Also, we've got 5 draconic gifts. These are things that dragons bestow upon characters and imbue them with power. Also new based on the treasury, and so we wanted you to have 5 additional ones of those to work with. And then we've got 50 dragon themed trinkets. You can always use those, whether it's to come up with something to have looted off of a character, to give to a starting character, to have just found out there somewhere in the world. Anywhere you need some draconic flair, a dragon themed trinket can help. Then we added adventure hooks as well, 40 plus of them, and what we wanted to do was go through everything in the book and create adventure hooks around those. And specifically, like with the subclasses, what we did is we came up with a hook for an NPC for the subclass and a hook for the player as a subclass, so that the DMs had options with these hooks to go either way. They could make a NPC using the subclass, or they could have the player experience something based on being part of that subclass. So we wanted to really not forget about the DMs. But the cool thing is if you're just a player buying this book, you could maybe either give those adventure hooks to your DM to use, or you could work them into your own backstory. Maybe they're part of your history, and some of these things that we've written as hooks can be things that have happened to you in the past or are happening to you now. And we didn't just cover the subclasses with the adventure hooks. We also went into the items, the spells, and the new familiar in this book called the Dragonling, which has a really fun backstory, and it can be used as a creature that you encounter, or it can be used as a familiar, which is a lot of fun. So scroll through here so you can see here's some of the subclass art, and we've got art for all the subclasses, and here's the new familiar, the Dragonling, and you can see some of the art for the items. We have art for every single item and horde magic item. And here's some of the horde magic items. This book is a lot of fun. And then we've got our subclass options. You can see just a little sneak preview of some of them here. We've got the Bard, College of the Wealth, and then the Warlock, the Great Worm. A lot of people were saying, why isn't there a dragon patron? Well, now there is. It's right here. And, for the clerics, we've got the Dragon Domain as well. So you can see here, let me zoom in on the table of contents, all kinds of fun classes. For the Artificer, we've got the Gemologist. We've got the Saltwater Soul for the Sorcerer. That's a really fun one. All kinds of good stuff. Circle of Scales for Druid. You name it. There's a subclass in here. And you can see all the spells are listed, magic items, all kinds of good stuff. So I hope you'll check it out. Whether you're a player or a DM, I think there's something in here for you, because remember, you can use all this stuff for NPCs as well as players, and it's already a best silver seller. It's only been on sale for 4 days, so I guess we did something right. So please check it out. It supports the channel, and I think it'll be a lot of fun for you, and I'm interested in your feedback. Let us know. We're always interested in your feedback on our books, because we want them to be the best they can be. All right, our next title is Bennet's Curse by Alessio Veglio. It says, Lift the Curse of Lydia Bennet, a deadly short adventure designed for 4 characters for 4th to 5th level. And it's pay what you want on a suggested price of $1 for 10 pages. It's already got 2 5-star ratings. It says, the graveyard of the village is haunted by the spirit of an innocent child, Lydia Bennet, murdered the month before. The ghost is furious and insane, unable to control its anger and comprehend its action. All that the little child's wraith wants is to get revenge on her killer. The killer is now dead, but Lydia is unable to find peace and trying to prevent the burial of the man, chaining his soul away from resting. The wraith calls to its help the dead of the cemetery and curse anyone that tries to interfere. So it says it's a perfect adventure for Halloween or Ravenloft, and you get 3 monsters, a map of a graveyard, 7 NPCs, and then, of course, the rules of the curse. So that sounds fun, especially with Halloween coming along, and you've got this kind of spooky cover with the skull spirit in the mirror. So that looks fun. Nice layout here. Looks really easy to read. So you got the story overview. I love this picture. That's a really cool picture. You got the information on the tavern. Here's your stat block. So we'll read a little bit here about the sign of the curse. It says, you see Lacey Fallow fall to the ground, screaming and suffering from an excruciating pain. His body starts to turn right before your eyes. Flesh turns gray and wounds grow bigger and deeper, dripping blood on the floor. His teeth and hands mutate in a horrific, bestial manner. Right before you, the man is no more. What remains of him is a little more than a dead corpse. Suddenly, the creature looks toward you, showing his teeth. Yeah, so you're going to be dealing with some undead there. And you've got the cursed beast stats, so it's a little bit different, I guess, than a typical undead that you might find in the monster manual, so that's fun. But yeah, this looks like it could be a good ghostly time for Halloween, and great price on it. So check it out under Bennet's Curse in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Forgotten Realms, Blood of the Lycan, a unique background and archetype by Carl Terrence Vandal for $4.95, and it's got 20 pages. It says it enables characters to access their ancient lycanthropic ancestry as they grow. Included in the project is a brief history of lycanthropy in the Forgotten Realms, an outline of different types of lycanthropy, a unique background, the Lycan blood, a barbarian subclass, Path of the Lycan, mechanics to allow any character class to access Lycan abilities as they grow in level, an encounter, 3 unique NPCs. So lots of stuff in this one. And here's your table of contents. So you can see quite a significant section here on Lycan blood abilities, which is good. And then there's a whole appendix on Lycan blood. And here's the intro, giving you background on lycanthropy and Forgotten Realms, and then here's all about the Lycan blood. So you're getting to see all 20 pages in the preview, which is really nice. So you can read the whole book and decide, hey, is this going to work for me? Do I have a use for it? But there's so much stuff in here, I can't imagine that you wouldn't be able to use it. So you've got these NPCs. Here's the little adventure that is like a 2-page adventure called I Smell a Rat. And then you've got this Path of the Lycan. So this is the barbarian piece here. So it says barbarians who walk the path of the Lycan draw their rage from a lycanthropic spark burning within their souls. They harness the ferocity of the lycanthrope in their rage and draw upon the aspects of the various lineages to enhance their abilities in battle. A barbarian who chooses this path does not have to have Lycan blood, but many who have tread it have that advantage, gaining further benefits from their natural Lycan abilities. So let's see what the 3rd level ability is. It says Lycan Soul. At 3rd level, when you adopt this path, you choose a lycanthropic spirit and allow it to take up residence within your being. Once selected, this choice remains the option for all your path abilities. While raging, you gain benefits based upon the lineage of the spirit. So all of them have the savagery of the Lycan Soul adds fuel to your rage. For the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. After this one, when your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. And then with the bear spirit, while raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. The lycanthropic spirit of the werebear makes you tough enough to stand up to any punishment. And then it goes through boar, rat, tiger, wolf, etc. So you have variations you can pick. And then you've got Lycan ferocity, Lycan howl, Lycan fury. So let's just read a little bit about that. At 14th level, the fury of the lycanthropic spirit adds fire to your rage. While raging, you gain benefits based upon your lycanthropic lineage. So then they have the choices listed here. We'll read Tiger. While you are raging, if you move at least 20 feet in a straight line toward a large or smaller target right before making a melee weapon attack against it, you can use a bonus action to make an additional melee weapon attack against it. So getting some bonus attacks there from Tiger. And then there's this whole background here, Lycan blood. You can see the tables here. So lots of fun stuff. Werewolf, Wereboar, Were-Tiger, all that stuff is represented here. Got some Forgotten Realms stuff as well with the history of lycanthropy in the Forgotten Realms. It seems like there's a lot on offer in this title. And, it's Halloween time, so werewolves can be perfect for that. Or if you're doing Ravenloft or really anything, there's always a place for werewolves in Dungeons & Dragons. So check it out under Blood of the Lycan in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got Carnival Tokens for commercial use, and it's by Harmony the Bard, $4.99. So there's these high-resolution tokens that you can use for carnivals, festivals, circuses, fairs, weddings, or any other event, and the artist has included 4K and 2K resolution, and there's 20 different ones. You can see there's different colors, there's swan boats and things. So just looking at the top of these are kind of without anything on top, and then you've got some with leaves on top, and then you've got bigger ones, and then bigger ones with leaves on top, and then boats without leaves. And what's cool about these is, Wild Beyond the Witchlight just came out. So there's carnival stuff in there that you could use this with. There's also the carnival in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft where you could use these. And then the boats could work with a lot of situations, not even just Feywild stuff. So, and not only are these tokens that you can use just as a player or DM, but if you're a creator, from what I'm reading here, it says it's for commercial use as well, and there's information on the license agreement down here, which you need to have. Just if you don't know, if you're publishing on DM's Guild or Drive Thru RPG, you have to have the rights to all the images in your publication. You can't just grab images off of Google, throw them in there. You got to have licenses. That's why it's good to support these creators. One of the most expensive parts of these books is the artwork. So having something like this for $5, you can throw these into, maybe you're going to make a map and put one of these on it. I think that's really cool for creators as well, to throw into one of their books. So I saw this and thought I gotta share this week, for both players, DMs, and creators, which is nice. Don't get a lot of stuff for creators on here, so in this series. So it gives you answers all the common questions down here. So be sure to read all those. Make sure to credit Harmony the Bard if you do use these in a publication. So check it out under Carnival Tokens in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Crypt of the King of 3, a module for 3 to 5 5th level players. It's a one-shot adventure by Scott A. Cooney, and it's $1.99 for 21 pages. It says, deep underneath the misty steps, an ancient power slumbers. A dead king sits atop it, forever shielding the power from being unleashed on mankind. Crypt of King of 3 is a one-shot adventure, and the module is designed around an underground dungeon encompassing 3 main puzzles that will exhume a long-lost treasure. And it's designed to take 4 to 6 hours from the point of entering the King of 3's crypt, and will be a challenge for characters specializing in the school of necromancy. So that's interesting. It's nice that they have like a specific challenge for a school there. So you get to see 13 of the 21 pages, so over half of the book here. It's organized by the adventure here, and then there's some appendices with monster stat blocks, handouts, and maps. And you've also got an intro that kind of sets up the adventure. So you've got your hooks, prologue, got some read aloud flavor text, which is good. And then got a random encounters table. Those are always nice. And then here's some key for the puzzles. So you can see some very cool little puzzle artwork here with various things. So if you like puzzles, I think this is definitely going to be one for you. And then you've got something called Omvor's Fragmented Phylactery, and it's a spell. It's epic magic transmutation, it says. So interesting stuff. Yeah, I like it. Fun stuff. All right, so let's read a little bit up here. It says, the Queen of Carrion. Players are called in front of a liege, Narcissa Urdu, the Queen of Carrion, for a very important task. Either they crossed her in a previous adventure, they are under her patronage, or word of their feats have gotten back to her and she's requested an audience. Being of the line of Vol, her family includes masters of magic and the undead. Centuries ago, a rogue conqueror vanquished one of her people from the realm of Radagast and buried their final remains under a monument to the king's glory. Time has disappeared the tomb long ago, but the queen requests that the players find it, break in, and retrieve her effects under the king's throne. The crypt is warded against her entry, but a team of mercenaries should be able to easily plunder the dungeon and retrieve them. The queen will send them to the Radagast steps, where they will seek the crypt's entrance. They are given little more instruction and are otherwise alone. So cool little intro, and that's just one of the hooks that are provided by the author here. So I like that hook. It's pretty well detailed. It's got a little bit more information on Narcissa Urdu as well over here, and it's got a very dark undead feel to it. So this could be good for Halloween, Ravenloft, pretty much anytime you want to have some puzzles with some undead flair, because look at all this stuff in here. So definitely looks fun, especially for $1.99. So check it out under Crypt of the King of 3 in the links below and give it a click. Next we have this fun looking little papercraft thing called D&D Foldable Character Sheet Template Wizard, and it's by Tornio Duva. And it's a suggested price of $4, but it's pay what you want. So you can adjust that price, but definitely pay something to this artist and author here. And so it says, have you ever felt like showing up to a new D&D session as if you were ready to play a completely different game? Well, now you can, sort of. As a follow-up to the author's previous work, the card-sized character sheet can fit all of the character information into a small foldable booklet. Every value and detail of your characters are fully organized with clearness in mind, so that everything matters pops right out, while giving you space to mess around with your own organization of things. Every page and section is divided into categories and subcategories and can even be partially extended, while still remaining the size with power of fold. So basically, you see kind of, this is the outside of it. So this would be kind of like the front cover, and then these kind of fold out because you're going to fold along these lines here, these black lines. And down here is the interior. So you can see it's got kind of all your stats on the left hand side when you're thinking about it folded open, with this being kind of the center, and then this is kind of folded open to the left, and this is folded open to the right. So your spell slot information, and then all your skills, details, features, feats, all that stuff is here. And so there's alternate versions: grayscale, black and white, textless, thicker borders, even a Photoshop file. And then the fonts is listed here, so you might have to download the font if you want to make changes in the PSD Photoshop file. But you can see kind of some of the variations, like grayscale, black and white, all that stuff. But yeah, it looks really fun. I think everybody's always looking for something special with their dice or their character sheets, etc. So this is a fun little papercraft way to maybe make it look like you have a little wooden book. And the author does have other ones that you can see down here. There's some other character sheets, and this week they also released this Insect Artificer character sheet, which is kind of cool. So check all those things out, help support this artist, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have a little fold-up character sheet. It's also more portable because it's not that big, unwieldy paper, because when you fold this up, this is probably about a quarter of the size of a piece of paper, right? So lots of fun. Look for it under D&D Foldable Character Sheet in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we have The Dragon Games, an adventure to recover a rare dragon's egg by Steve Jasper Orr, Bill Putrino, DJ Brewer, and Wizard Sleeve Studios is the publisher. $4.95 for 40 pages. Dragons are respected throughout the realms for their longevity and immense power. A single dragon can wreak havoc on entire regions. Kingdoms have assembled entire armies to vanquish troublesome dragons, only to have those armies obliterated by a few blasts of a dragon's breath. They have a fearsome and near legendary reputation, one that is well deserved. Yet brave or foolish adventurers continue to tempt fate by disturbing these dangerous beasts. The lure of fame and fortune that comes with defeating a dragon is hard to resist for some, even when the odds are stacked against them. The Dragon Game sends adventurers racing to find an infamous blue dragon's lair, to steal an egg and return it to the finish line. The opposing teams will do whatever it takes to get the egg, and there are very few rules to adhere to. It takes cunning, planning, and fortitude to get through the obstacles, claim the egg, deal with enemies trying to steal it, and reach the finish line in one piece. For the winning team, fame and fortune awaits. The product includes an original adventure that scales for characters of all levels, PvP mechanics, and rules to pit opposing parties against each other as they race for the egg. And then there's the Dragon Games Medallion, an original magic item with versions for all 4 tiers, 2 original maps including VTT-ready versions, 3 opposing NPC teams, and 24, 6 for each tier, original class-specific NPC stat blocks. And you can see here some of the interior with the fun artwork and a nice map there. I like this concept of it being a race for the egg. I think this is really timely with Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. This could be very useful. I think the Treasury really helps DMs figure out how to roleplay dragons. So I think a lot of DMs are going to be out there going, when's my next opportunity to roleplay these dragons? I've learned all this stuff from reading the Treasury. I need an opportunity to demonstrate my might as a dragon, and this particular adventure could be an option. So I think that's really cool. And let's take a look inside. So yeah, Wizard Sleeve Studios. I think we've had some of their stuff on the channel before. So 26 episodes. So it all blurs together at this point for me. So lots of stuff in here. Let's see. You've got the rare invitation. It talks about different hosts you can even have for this challenge, and then associate relationship tables. Why the relationship? And these tables, you could use them even for other types of associate relationships between two characters, because it's saying here, what was the former relationship between these associates? The first one is belong to the same religious community. The second is business partners in a legitimate business, and the third is business partners, a legal business. So that could be the connection between characters outside of this adventure too. So reusability, we like reusability in modules and things like that. So very good job, Dragon Sleeve, adding that. Yeah, fun artwork. You can see they've got a nice layout. It's not going to be too hard on your eyes to read this. We always look for that because sometimes it's just a wall of text, right? We don't want a wall of text. So this is nice. They've broken it up with some art. And you get to see half of the book because there's 20 of the 40 pages are in here. So you can see they've got stat blocks by different tiers. I really appreciate that. Sometimes these modules say, oh yeah, you can use it for any level. And then they don't really, they give you just a little paragraph about how to tweak it, right? So I really appreciate that they've taken the time to say, okay, I've got Warlock tier 2, 3, and 4 here, so you don't have to even do the math yourself. I've done it for you. It's ready to go. You just figure out what tier of adventure. And if you don't know what the tiers are, Wizards has assigned tiers to the levels. So tier 1 is levels 1 through 4. So by going with the 4 tiers, you've covered levels 1 through 20, which are the official levels in Wizards Dungeons and Dragons books. So kinds of cool stuff in here. You've got investigation checks with, and then again here, the different tiers. So if you're in a different tier, you might find a higher value, higher powered magic item. So again, very appropriate. I really appreciate that. It's one of my favorite things I think about this particular book. Okay, so let me read just the beginning flavor text. Don't want to spoil the adventure too much, so we'll just read this box here. Greetings, brave adventurers. You have been deemed worthy by the illustrious Xanathar to participate in this year's edition of the Dragon Games. Only the most courageous and daring heroes receive this exclusive invitation, and you have been selected. Please arrive at Felder's Field on the outskirts of Waterdeep in 7 days to be greeted by your gracious host, meet your competition, and be informed of the rules and prizes for the event. Do not be late. Xanathar will not be pleased if you are. So, fun callback to Xanathar. There's Xanathar's Guide to Everything, lots of references to Xanathar as the host here. So, but it talks about using other hosts if you want to set the adventure somewhere other than Forgotten Realms. So pretty cool. I like this. I think it's timely. Hopefully lots of people get practice playing as a dragon if they are DMing. And I think just the concept of racing and the fact that you can have them race against an NPC team, or you can divide your players into multiple teams and have them go up against each other. You don't often see PvP, especially PvP in a way that is organized. And if you don't know what PvP means, that means player versus player. So you don't often see player versus player content in an organized, written out way. It's DMs have to sort of arrange that either through homebrew or on the fly. So again, another nice touch here. So I really like this. I think it's got a little bit of everything, well fleshed out for all the tiers of play. And I'm happy that it's here for you guys to test out your Treasury of Dragons, newfound dragon abilities. So check it out under Dragon Games in the links below and give it a click. Next we have the Major Arcana Volume 1, Dungeons and Divination, with this fun cover here. I like the cover here. It's by Lydia Van Hoy, Sean F. Smith, Kelly Samuelson, and Matthew Moynihan. And it's $9.95 for 33 pages. And unfortunately, the preview didn't work. It just showed a blank screen. And it is, if you're not a creator, it is a struggle to get these previews working on this site. It has challenges all the time. So chances are by the time you click this link, they'll have either fixed the preview or maybe they'll add some images into the body text for you to see a little bit more. And I think it was working when I was looking at it initially yesterday. So it may just be a temporary glitch too. So it says Inside Dungeons and Divination Major Arcana Volume 1. You'll find 3 adventures based off of the themes within 3 cards of Tarot's Major Arcana. At the end of each adventure is a section further detailing the card, its symbolism, and its interpretations. While the cards in this book may not tell your future, we hope the messages within them and their corresponding adventures offer you insight into yourself. Intercept a dangerous package and prevent a social catastrophe and doubt what thou wilt. Prevent a coup and help rebuild Shadowfen in the Empress. Foil a kidnapping plot and uncover one for illithid domination. So that's very cool. And then it says Volume 2 is coming, I think, it's going to be out today. So that's great. And then you've got information on the project lead here, but it's cool that they're associating things with the cards. Tarot's been something that's been around for a long time, and people are fans of it. There's so many Kickstarters where people are doing tarot decks and they're going for like millions of dollars, and it's amazing to see because there's some beautiful decks out there that people are creating. And so I like that this is structured around the cards, because people a lot of times don't think about it in detail, and so this kind of gives you some history. And what's really cool is when I was looking at it previously, and I was able to see each of these adventures is by a different creator. So and I think they're listed up here. So you're really supporting the work of multiple creators with this book, and it's exciting, this concept. I think the adventures sound really fun too, because you've got illithids involved, you've got dangerous packages and social catastrophes and all kinds of things happening. So you've got 3 options in just this first book of 33 pages. So I think it's worth checking out under Dungeons and Divination in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Knights of the Shadow Realm Digital Map Pack, 28 different dungeons to explore a world of limitless possibilities by David Barentine. It's $1.99, so that's an extraordinarily good price. 66 pages. It says this digital map collection contains a plethora of different dungeon maps that can be used for various campaigns, from deep dungeon delves to underwater temples to islands floating a starlit abyss. There is a little something for most encounters to exist within. Originally created to accompany players through Knights of the Shadow Realm, a full 1 to 20 adventure, these maps can now be inserted into any campaign setting in need of a quick visual element. So there's 28 gridded, 28 gridded maps with numbered areas, 4 regional maps for both player and DM, and a continent map featured in the adventure Knights of the Shadow Realm. It says the maps are full dungeons with several rooms and corridors that feed back into each other to allow for a full range of different encounters to be placed in areas to explore. And look at how gorgeous they are. To me, they resemble the wonderful maps in the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. So if you're looking for any kind of maps in that similar style, or you just need maps, I mean, look at these kind of floating starlit islands here. That looks really fun. And then you've got this, looks like it could be a little town here or a graveyard. So all kinds of stuff. And I just love how closely they resemble the Wizards maps as well. So if you need some maps, check it out under Knights of the Shadow Realm Digital Map Pack in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have the Kobold Kompendium, everything you need to run endless adventures with the world's greatest little dragons, by Azazel Olbrinter and Jack Weigel. It's $7.95 for 40 pages. And it says a barbarian runs in pursuit of a puny kobold in his escape. The wizard warns him to stop, but it's already too late. The tunnel collapses as soon as the barbarian enters it, burying him below a pile of rock. The cleric rushes to the rescue of her friend just to be ambushed by dozens of kobolds. The wizard begins to despair and throws a bolt of fire at the horde, igniting the gas that the little dragons prepared. A wave of fire consumes the adventurers, leaving nothing but their calcined bodies and equipment. Sure, many kobolds died while protecting their warren, but these pesky adventurers won't bother anyone anymore and have left the surviving kobolds a fair stash of loot. It's a collection of everything you need to run new and fresh adventures featuring the best of Dungeons & Dragons minions. So there's over 37 Kobold themed stat blocks, including the All Watcher, Trap Master, Slyblade, Vermin Handler, Infernal, and Lich. 13 Kobold designed traps to solve your dungeon's security issues. It says your dungeons feel too empty. Stock them with one of 17 pre-made layers. A vast amount of Kobold lore to inspire new adventures. And then they've got some stretch goals. So if they reach certain metals, which is, copper, silver, gold, all those metals that you get as bestsellers, they're going to add content to the book. So something to be aware of. If you buy a book like that, what they're hoping is that you tell your friends, and that your friends buy, and that they hit those medals, right? So it's kind of a way, kind of like Kickstarter, to encourage you to socialize what you're purchasing and encourage buying. So, but what I think is really nice is that kobolds are pretty popular, fun little creatures. They're pretty much essential to Dungeons and Dragons, and so they're bringing them in for you to really enjoy. And here you go. You've got Life and Outlook, Kobold Society, and then various types of creatures, including a giant bat, giant weasel, and then all these variations of kobolds, and then their religion, their environment, monstrous kobolds, and then trap makers, including some traps, all kinds of traps, including tree sap, frozen lake, and collapsing tunnel. And then you've got layers with layer elements, so all kinds of stuff. If you really want to get deep into the kobold space, you've got everything you need here, it looks like. So you've got the personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, food and diet, and then all these different types of kobolds. If you're a player and you're maybe playing the kobold from the UA or a homebrewed version of the kobold, this could also give you some background or some things that you can work in, especially with these personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, all that good stuff, and the information on the society, etc. You could even potentially, with these stat blocks, say, you want to be kind of this type of kobold, because there are so many different kinds. There's the kobold dragon shield, the dragon rot, the inventor, scale sorcerer, etc. So these could work really well for that. And it looks fun. I like the artwork too. These are cute little kobolds. The thing is kobolds can be a nuisance, but they're also adorable. So there's that. And I think the name is fun too, with the Kobold Kompendium. So check it out under Kobold Kompendium. Give it a click, and hopefully you'll have some kobold fun with it. Next we have Pit Fiends from Hidden Nerdy Side, and it's Let's Build and Encounter Pit Fiends, specifically, 9 pages for $1.60. It says, an engaging series of encounters spanning a full campaign for parties levels 15 to 20. This game might lead to a thrilling large-scale combat, gut-wrenching betrayal, or both. Your party will strive to save a city from certain death when the mighty pit fiend Mordrax of Malagard descends upon the siege to come to the rescue? ? Your party will work with Mordrax to bring down your big bad. That is, until your heroes are no longer deemed necessary. So you've got combat, role-playing advice with fiendish twists and turns, structured, multi-layered, citywide battle encounter, tips for humanizing an infernal general of the 9 hells, 2 ways to customize your personal pit fiend, tons of encounter implementation advice, tables, and more. And I like that it's got this fun little pit fiend on the cover, and I also like that it's for levels 15 to 20. Because you don't see a lot of tier 4 content, especially from Wizards. They don't do much of that at all. So I always think it's good when we find that. Not that a lot of groups play that high of level, but some do. I mean, you choose these subclasses and get excited about their upper level abilities, and then don't get to use them. So it's nice when people finally get to play tier 4. So yeah, look at the layout, really fun artwork, easy to read, easy on the eyes here. So it talks through everything, including the companion video, which you can watch on here, because Hidden Nerdy Side has a YouTube channel as well. So be sure to go there and subscribe, support our fellow YouTuber. Yeah, you can click the link in here and watch the video that kind of helps with this as well. So that's always nice. And then it breaks down the encounter here. You're getting to see only 5 of the 9 pages in the preview here. And then the adversary, a little bit about Mordrax and the Hellfire Siege. And then this particular battle. And some more fun stuff. I like that there's dialogue in here too. This is a whole section of dialogue, so very helpful. But let's go back up here and read some of the early stuff so it's not too much of a spoiler. So it says it's a long-term subplot with tremendous role-playing potential centered around a memorable NPC whose sudden but inevitable betrayal serves to wrap up the art in dramatic fashion. So that's not a spoiler because we read that in the catalog description here. So let's read a little bit about Mordrax. It says, Mordrax the Merciful. Once the PCs arrive on the scene, they'll immediately discover that they aren't the only powerful agents acting in defense of the city. Your heroes will find Mordrax doing battle with his own kind, slaughtering fiendish foot soldiers and swatting away imps like flies as he butchers his way toward an obese and cowardly horn devil called Orm, and the massive thunder cannon-equipped Hellfire engine that the complacent old lieutenant commands. Only 5 bearded devils remain of Orm's private forces. Mordrax, for his part, is a brazen defender, bellowing at the top of his lungs, I tell you again, you sniveling waste, until the adversary has been repaid, this city is under the protection of Mordrax of Malagard. So, yeah, there's my terrible demon voice. But yes, it's fun. I mean, who gets to team up with a fiend in an adventure? That just doesn't happen very often, right? So I think this is a really good opportunity. I like that there's this little video down here to supplement what you purchased. And, of course, the video is free to watch. So you don't always get that. And for $1.60, you're supporting a YouTuber, a creator, and getting a fun, infernal adventure. So check out Let's Build and Encounter Pit Fiends in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Volume 4, Monster Loot, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons by Anne Gregerson. And Anne has been making lots of Monster Loot volumes, so there's all kinds of Monster Loot stuff in her catalog. And this one's associated with Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. And, that book just came out, but Anne has managed to go through all of the different monsters that are in that book and list all the different types of loot that you can get from those monsters. So it says, when brave adventurers face the dangers of the world, they want something to show for it. The supplement provides individual loot for each monster in the treasury, as well as a basic crafting and harvesting system that works with 5th edition. These brave adventurers will be able to craft the hide, teeth, and claws of their enemies into dangerous weapons and equipment that is sure to mark them as legendary heroes of the realm. So then you've got some examples of the loot here. So we don't have a preview, but we get to read some of them here, so that's cool. So there's the Draconian Mastermind, 2d4 vials of lightning essence. This essence crackles and glows in the dark, shedding bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet if not covered. Can be used as an additional material component when casting spells that deal lightning damage. When used in this way, you deal an additional 1d8 lightning damage when you cast the spell. And then you get 1d4 vials of draconian poison gas. As an action, you can throw this vial up to 30 feet away, where it shatters in a cloud of gas. Each creature within 10 feet of where the vial landed must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes poison damage and gains 1 level of exhaustion. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and doesn't gain exhaustion. And so then you've got the Sapphire Dragon Wormling, what you would get from that. So the book Fizban's Treasury of Dragons has, all these monster stat blocks and lore for different types of dragon-related monsters. And so Anne has got, each of them as well with what you could get from them. So it's a very nice supplement to tie into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. And this is like I said, a series. So there's the other ones from the Monster Manual, Volo's Guide, Mordenkainen's. And I think there's a Van Richten's one too, but you can see lots and lots of monster loot for all of these titles that have been released by Wizards. So makes it a no-brainer, right? You know, if you're a DM, you've got a lot of work to do always to keep the game going. And when you grab a supplement like this, you're covering that. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to go, well, what's going to be with this Draconian Mastermind? I don't know. It's right here. You don't have to think about it. Already done for you and did it. So if you want to have loot just automatically covered for all the monsters in Fizban's Treasury Dragons, this is the book for you. It's under Monster Loot Volume 4 in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Not Another Monster Quest Volume 2, Orcs, Gnolls, and Minotaurs. So we covered the first volume on this series, and it's a really fun concept, which I'll get into in a minute, but I just want to call out some of the creators here. So we've got Alex Niederberger, Bob Carnicom, Brittany Hay, Sydney Butor, Emery Kauf, Aaron Tierney, Fabi Garza, Grady Wang, and a bunch of others. I'm not going to read them all, but I wanted to give a shout out to at least the first few there. It's 96 pages for $14.95. And it says, D&D has so many fascinating creatures to explore and interact with, but more often than not, those creatures are labeled monstrous and are seen as nothing more than a bag of experience points for adventurers to carve through in their quest to further expand and explore the world around them. Very rarely are these creatures presented in a positive light, and even more rarely as individuals with their own stories to tell. This disconnect is further widened by the ability for players to create characters from these so-called monstrous races, offering labeling player characters as outcasts or individuals who are able to break free of their monstrous origins and find a more civilized way of being. With Not Another Monster Quest, we seek to showcase these monstrous races in a wide spectrum of colors and personality types, not just automatically quantifying them as evil because of how they look or their background. Evil is not something that should be prescribed to an entire race of beings, with a handful of them, usually player characters, being quantified as good. So you kind of get the concept here. They did this with Volume 1 as well, and I love it because we do need to start thinking differently about some of this stuff. I mean, back in the 70s when this, Dungeons and Dragons game was invented, people thought differently, and we're evolving and becoming more enlightened and understanding that some of those choices make it harder for people to go through life when you think everything is black and white and that an entire group of people is one way or the other. It's a simple way to think, but it creates a lot of problems. And so this book is trying to help encourage us to not see everything as black and white, but rather shades of gray or a spectrum of colors. And that, orcs, gnolls, minotaurs, there can be good ones, bad ones, and everything in between with those races, rather than just they're all bad or they're all good or they're all whatever. So I really appreciate that. I'm excited that these titles exist, and I think it's just a fun change because you will get players that just want to hack and slash everything and not think about it. And maybe they need to have an adventure where they have to think differently and shake it up a little bit. So it says a plethora of content, even for the most seasoned adventurers. Help a gnoll decipher love notes for a romantic picnicking experience. Enjoy a magical minotaur carnival, complete with a maze. Enter an orc wrestling competition. And so there's 4 adventures ranging from Tier 1 to Tier 3, 8 NPCs, 16 colorful encounters, and lots of artwork. And you can see this fun little carnival going on with this maze. And then you've got all the different information about this particular adventure with all the people, the vendor, the hooks, and the mini games. And then here's some of the other encounters. And then some of the monstrous NPCs as well. Look at this little buggy down here. That's fun. And cool looking characters. So, and then you've got all the creators listed down here, which is nice. Yeah, it looks really good. Look at the layout, the art, the style of it. It's very nice. Let's look inside. So you get to see all the pages, it looks like. Yeah, all 96. So that's very kind. So no reason not to read this and see if it works for you and then purchase it if it does. Don't just read this and use it. Please purchase it. So you can see the various encounters, and they've even got, for some of the characters, they've got the personality trait, ideal, bond, flaw. So like the role-playing cards that are in Witchlight, giving you advice on how to play the different NPCs, which isn't helpful to DMs. And then you've got all this content. So let's read a little bit about Minnow's Magical Maze. It says it's designed for 5th to 10th level and is optimized for 5 characters with an average party level of 6. It says the characters travel to the maze and are warmly welcomed by Minnow the Minotaur. Minnow happily explains the history of his magical maze and how the roadside attraction came to be. The characters can explore the grounds and participate in various different activities, most notable being the magical maze itself. Completing games earns the characters tokens that they can exchange to the prize vendor. So fun stuff. You could tie this into the Carnival in Ravenloft, the Witchlight Carnival, of course. So lots of ways this could be another carnival. You could have a whole carnival themed campaign if you wanted. And here we go. Here's the maze and the carnival itself. That looks really cool. I love the artwork. It says, arriving at the maze, when the characters approach the grounds, read the following. As you approach the cluster of colorful pitched tents, you hear the sounds of joyful laughing and excited chatter. A large sign on the side of the road reads, Minnow's Magical Maze, the most magical attraction in all of Eberron. Crowds gather outside tents, carts, and floating stands while enjoying the attractions the maze has to offer. So it mentions Eberron, so it could be there or it could be somewhere else. You could just swap in, in all of the realms or all of wherever if you wanted to. So yeah, and you can see the different features of the maze here, navigating the maze. They've got this competition called the Tree Toss and the Aloe Coaster, Gloomy Gourds. So fun little games that you can use outside of this, and you can just see tons and tons of cool artwork and concepts in here. And once again, supporting that good cause of opening up our minds to think about monsters as a spectrum rather than just evil or good. So check it out under Not Another Monster Quest Volume 2 in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Olga's Incredible Orphanage with this adorable little duckling on the front by Megan Fanning. And it's suggested price of 0 on Pay What You Want, 11 pages. And it says it's a one-shot adventure for Mother's Day, birth announcements, or even a side quest if you have a player who has a background of an orphan but no particular backstory. Your foster mother, Olga, a cleric by calling, runs an orphanage. She is known far and wide for having a special talent to handle difficult cases. She would like some help with an easy afternoon of babysitting. And they said it's pay what you want, but they're suggesting a $5 donation to Treehouse, which is a charity down here. So just consider that, even though it's marked free, they're suggesting that instead of paying here that you pay a charity. So think about that, I guess, as you're purchasing this. What I like is this notion that it's good for Mother's Day or birth announcements. So people talk about these gender reveal parties and all this stuff that goes on. So you could use D&D to do some of these things, make major announcements in your life. And so when I saw this, I was excited because I thought this was an opportunity to show an example of that. And so we've got this interiors here. You get to see 6 of the 11 pages. So there's the premise goes into that. And then children in the orphanage, all the different characters, the village. So we'll read about it a little bit up here because we don't want to give too much away. It says, your surrogate mother, Olga, a belabored and exhausted mother to all, a cleric by calling, runs the orphanage on behalf of, and then you put the god's name in there. She is known far and wide for having a special talent to handle the difficult cases. Other orphanages will often send their children here, or parents who find they have children with uncanny and creepy talents leave their children here. So maybe they have a kid that can read minds or has prophetic dreams or something, and they drop them off because it's too scary. They think it's witchcraft or whatever. And so they profile some of the children, and then the village is profiled, all the different characters, and then the adventure itself starts with the party tasks like go visit the ducks at the park, don't let any children disrobe or lose their clothing, read a bedtime story for their nap, keep all the children in bed, feed the children dinner, try not to let them throw the food or dishes, don't lose any children, don't let the children get hurt. So this seems like it's a non-combat adventure, which is great because, Witchlight started this, or didn't really start it, but it was Wizards' first 5th edition attempt at making a adventure that could be solved without combat. And I'm liking that as a trend because not everybody wants to do combat. And certainly not everybody wants to do combat the whole entire session, right? They want things besides combat as well. So this could be a fun opportunity, maybe celebrating the birth of someone, doing a gender reveal. You could even reveal it through this adventure, right? Maybe one of the parts of the adventure is, revealing. Maybe there's a character that can have psychic thoughts about, somewhere there's somebody that's going to have a girl as their baby or whatever, right? So you could just do all sorts of fun birth, baby shower stuff with this, right? And I think it's really cool. So check it out under Olga's Incredible Orphanage in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Ravnican Dragons, 23 new stat blocks, Dragon Drakes and More by Linmos and Tub Thumpers Guild. It's got a price of $4.99 for 19 pages. And it says, with the release of Fizban and its multiversal planar hijinks, it seems like a great time to head back to the plane of Ravnica and check up on the dragons there. And so it's got new dragons, including Crackling Drakes, Drakewing Crassus, Niv-Mizzet Reborn, Skerrigan Hellkites, Rakdos Pit Dragons, and more. And they're using the new Witchlight style stat blocks, which is where spellcasting is handled differently, as well as, alignment. So let's look at 4 of the 19 pages. So Ravnica is one of the Magic the Gathering settings. And some of those names I recognize from the cards from Ravnica. Well, there's been a lot of Ravnica Magic the Gathering expansions, but anyway. All right, so there's the Guild Pact, talking about that. Then you've got Gruul Hellkites, Drakes, age categories. So you got the Drake Familiars even. Here's Drakewing Crassus. So, that's a big card for sure. It says, cautious not to repeat Vig's mistakes. Systemic fuse life essences using magic alone. Each result is called a Crassus. Drakewing Crassus often have a major and minor adaptation found on the major adaptations and minor adaptations tables. So they're getting pretty in depth here with some of these different dragons. So yeah, it looks fun. Looks like, they're gonna delve deep into all the different possibilities based on the cards. So you've got the Guild Pack and the Decamillennial. The people of Ravnica deemed that dragons such as Hellkite tyrants were too dangerous to allow to exist, and thus signed the Guild Pact to rid the world of these ultra-powerful beings. By the Decamillennial, the 10,000-year anniversary of the signing of the Guild Pact, nearly all dragons in Ravnica had been killed, driven nearly to extinction. The most significant exception is Niv-Mizzet, the leader of the Izzet League, who led the hunt against other dragons of his kind to eliminate all potential rivals. So that's cool. Ravnica is very urban. It's like literally all urban. So dragons in urban settings are different. So it's cool that they're kind of covering some of the history in here as well as all the stat blocks. So yeah, I think this could be fun. 23 new dragons. Maybe, you got Fizbans, but you're now trying to work it into your Ravnica campaign. So this comes along and really helps you out by getting into some of the dragon stuff in Ravnica as well. So check it out under Ravnican Dragons in the links below. Next we have Realm of the Pumpkin King, a festive adventure for 5th to 7th level players, written by Danny Cabot-Villar. And it's listed as Cabot here, but it's a nickname. $4.95 for 37 pages. It says, become your fears. It's last harvest eve in Woodswick, when the unseelie Fey come to play with mortals and demand their tithe of souls. The celebration is nothing but a fun tradition for the locals, but not for its orphanage. For the last 4 years, a child has gone missing on each eve, and the NC matron is at her wit's end to stop the Fae's kidnappings. That is, if the fair folk are truly at fault. If not, what sinister fate has befallen the children, and how can the adventurers avoid sharing it? So we have another kind of Halloween-themed adventure. Another orphanage, so you can maybe even pair this with that other orphanage adventure, have a series of orphanage adventures, maybe even if your characters use the orphan background or some sort of matron or whatever the roles are of people that work at orphanages, social worker style backgrounds. You could tie these adventures together and have a whole campaign of helping children, which would be kind of fun. There's even one of those Adventure League titles that came out with Witchlight is focused on helping children as well, so you could use that one as well. So Realm of the Pumpkin King is a loose sequel to the gold bestseller Rise of the Pumpkin King, and it's got a whimsical tone and aesthetic that belies deeper body horror. It attempts a tone that smoothly transitions between childish fear and the genuinely horrible. So there's the Realm of Fright, a small demi-plane of eeriness and fear. Halloween Manor, a fully illustrated 3-floor dungeon abound with spooky theatrics, 3 unique magic items, and a satisfyingly punishable demon to manage or coerce in a familiarship. And I love all the artwork here. I believe that Ateris did all the artwork, so that's awesome. Love this map here. Looks really cool. We don't have a preview, but you do get to see all of this, which I think is nice. And I think this is promising because you've got a fair bit of art mixed in with the words so that it's not taxing on your eyes. And the maps look good. The characters look good. So I think this is really promising. It's perfect for Halloween, having this Pumpkin King coming at you. I mean, look at how moody and cool this artwork is. So I'm really intrigued by this. I definitely want to look at the whole thing at some point. But yeah, it's cool to have a Pumpkin King just in time for Halloween or beyond. This is perfect for Ravenloft, or in this this Realm of Fright that they've come up with. It could be part of Ravenloft or even just somewhere. Maybe you've got a really bright campaign that you need to add some darkness to, so you can have them end up in the Realm of Fright somehow and mix it up a little bit. So check it out under Realm of the Pumpkin King and give it a click. Next, we have Return of the Necromancer, already a best silver seller in its first week. It says, undead servants, nasty traps, and hidden secrets. You can sharpen your blade, you can prepare your spells, but can you survive the horrors in the catacombs? And it's a one-shot, level 4 mini-adventure, suggested price of 99 cents, which is incredibly cheap on Pay What You Want. And it doesn't say how many pages it is here, but 99 cents, that's pretty good. It's designed for 3 to 5 4th level characters, and it can be played as a one-shot episode or as a sequence. It can be used to bring back an evil villain from the dead and can be used in any campaign. It says, an evil necromancer has risen from his grave. Hydrian Darkheart wants revenge and plans to lure the characters to his underground lair. It is time to meet your arch enemy again. Undead servants, nasty traps, and hidden secrets await in the spooky catacombs beneath Whiteport Cemetery. Do you dare step through the strange magical portal and explore the other side? You can sharpen your blade, you can prepare your spells, but can you survive the horrors in the catacombs? So VTT, tokens, and maps, a tweaked monster, and original art. Oh, it's 8 pages. Very cool. And then looks like there's more to this creator's world. They've got quite a few things going on. There's even the Secrets of the Drow thing that they're doing. And they've got a teaser down here for, and a bunch of other titles. So I like the style of their covers. They've got a kind of a distinct style to their covers, so they look like they all go together. I really like that. Let's look inside. So you've got this beautiful map here, Eastern Fairway. Looks like you're going to see the whole thing, which is really nice. So yeah, all the maps are great. Epilogue, you've got the Necronomicon here. Yeah, really beautifully laid out. I think this is a really fun one. Very reminiscent of Ravenloft maps. So let's read this here. The campfire is burning low, and orange embers glow in the dark. The forest around you is quiet except for the distant barking of a fox and the rustling of leaves in the gentle wind. Suddenly a strange noise that seems out of place catches your attention. Shuffling footsteps are slowly coming closer. So you got to worry about what's coming at you there. And I don't want to spoil too much, but I think you should come read this because you get to read the whole book. And you can grab it for 99 cents and just have a good spooky time with these gorgeous maps. You can probably reuse a lot of these maps, especially if they're giving you the VTT versions. So yeah, this is definitely a fun one. So check it out under Return of the Necromancer in the links below. Give it a click. I'm going to add it to my wish list. All right, now let's go on to the next title. Stagefright Presents The Tragedy of Strahd von Zarovich and Other Stories. It says a supplement for Stagefright's play in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight by Matthew Allen, $4.50 for 20 pages. So Wild Beyond the Witchlight contains 4 alternative versions of, Wild Beyond the Witchlight has Stagefright's improv theater in chapter 4. And so this book is really trying to give you alternative versions of that so that instead of generic play, you can use one of these 4 stories with characters, props, backdrops, different lines that you can read, etc. And then it goes through the 4. So you've got the tragedy of Strahd von Zarovich. So the play includes familiar characters, obviously, with Ravenloft, and then Murder on the Lightning Rail. A murder mystery takes place on board a lightning rail train from the Eberron campaign setting. And then you've got the casino heist. A crew of master criminals attempt to rob a casino out from a beholder guard. And then you've got the wedding of Tiamat. One of Tiamat's 5 dragon heads has accidentally fallen in love with a humanoid bard. Now the bride tries desperately to keep the bard from discovering her secret on the day of the wedding. That's fun. While the other of the 5 dragon heads have something to say about the situation. So, and each one includes lines that can be read. So that's fun. You can see here, we've got various tables to deal with the shows, and then here's some lines or some setup tables, and then you've got the lines that you would read in the vampire tragedy, and then you're getting into the train one. So it seems like it's got a lot of content for each one of the 4, which is helpful. So I've been not reading all of Witchlight, just parts of it, because I want to play it someday and I don't want to be spoiled. So I'm not familiar with this section of the book and how it plays out, but I'm guessing this is going to be really helpful because I'm guessing this is more detailed than what's in there. Nothing bad against Wizards. Wizards just wants to leave room not only for third-party creators, but for DMs to explore. So I like that this exists. Gives you more options for your Chapter 4 in Witchlight. So check it out under Stagefright Presents in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got Swordtember, The Magic Swords by R.P. Davis. And it's $3.95 for 25 pages. And so social media has a lot of these little hashtag challenges, some of which can have you end up on the news, which you don't want to do. You don't want to get into a challenge that is dangerous. But Swordtember is not one of those that's dangerous. Although a sword is involved, it's not dangerous. And what Swordtember was sort of an art challenge saying, okay, let's draw a themed or paint or whatever, a themed sword every single day for September. And it was fun. I was looking at a lot of things on Twitter and elsewhere where people were doing all these different themed swords. One of them, I think, was like insect and all that stuff. So, potentially you could end up with, 30 different swords for the month with all different kinds of looks to them. And then you could turn those into items, of course. So that's the origin of the term Swordtember. Is it's a challenge, a hashtag challenge for artists. So it says, I'm not an artist, but I was inspired by the art I saw on social media. A few days in, I started musing on what exactly the swords I was seeing might be if they existed in 5th edition campaign world. Thus, I was inspired to start creating my versions of magic swords. Though I didn't create a sword for each of Swordtember's 30 days, I did a bunch. and you're holding the results in your hot little hands. I hope you find them in some inspiration for your campaign, adventure seeds, or maybe some rewards for your characters. So, cool idea. So you got this little letter about what's going on, then credits, Kabooter Games, and then here's the first sword, and then this is like the lore, and then this is the details of what it does, and then you see that kind of pattern follows for all of them. So we'll just look at the first one. We don't want to spoil all of them, but you get to see 12 of the 25 pages, so you get to see probably about half of the swords. So here's the first one. It says, there once was a bandit king called Bennet the Greedy. He ruled vast tracts of while scaling wood, where Bennet's word was law, and honest men feared to tread. The king's road traveled straight through the wood. However, merchants risked the journey. It says Spider Siddell was Bennet's lieutenant, and Spider led the raids on the King's Road. Spider had a magic sword and a short blade, silvery and ominous, that was said to prevent all other magic from being used near it. So that's kind of the lore. And then down here you've got Bandit's Boon. It's a weapon. It's a short sword. It's legendary. The sword is surrounded by a 10-foot radius, invisible spear of anti-magic at all times. This area is divorced from the magical energy that suffuses the multiverse. Within the sphere, spells can't be cast, summoned creatures disappear, and even magic items become mundane. The sphere moves with the sword, centered on the sword. Spells and other magical effects, except those created by an artifact or deity, are suppressed in the sphere and can't protrude into it. Any spell slots expended to cast a suppressed spell are consumed. While an effect is suppressed, it doesn't function, but the time it's been suppressed counts against its duration. So, some spell suppression going on, anti-magic. It's cool effect for a sword, and I like the structure of this book, how they've got like this little parchment with the lore on it, and then it goes into the mechanics, so you get both. You can skip over the lore if you want, or skip over the mechanics, or both, or read both, whatever you want to do. But I like that it's got something for lore lovers, something for mechanic lovers. Not all magic items get kind of this lore background, and I always think that's awesome when that's included. And lots of fun swords in here, so all different shapes, sizes, and stuff going on. That's a cool one called Desolation. So yeah, I encourage you to check it out under Swordtember in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Trollskull Manor Encounter Maps by Angela Bradley, and it's $3. And it's for both fantasy grounds and, just the files that you can use for wherever you want. If you have some other VTT, Roll20 or Foundry that you want to load these maps into, you could do that. So Angela's graciously offered both versions, so in one package. So I like that, because a lot of times you don't get both the fantasy grounds and the regular maps together. So really appreciate that. It says, looking for a spooky setting? This manor and pub has defiantly seen better days. It is abandoned and has fallen into disrepair. Who knows what might be lurking there? Ghosts, bandits, and scary creatures? And it says the manor and pub are nice as well in these other versions, so that's good. So you can have the spooky or the nice version. So you can import the JPEGs into whatever VTT software you're using. So here's the previews, and I mean, who doesn't need a pub? You can see this is like the cellar where stuff is stored, and then you've got, that's the nice version, and this is the spooky crumbled version. And then here's the tavern itself, and that's cool with this sort of kitchen area. And then this is the spooky version, all disheveled. And then upstairs rooms, kind of an inn. Yeah, so you get to see all these different variations. That's cool. Yeah, I like this a lot. And uppermost floor, so lots of floors. It's really nice. I mean, who doesn't need even just this map right here to have like a normal tavern in somewhere? You're gonna use that. It's always gonna come into play somewhere. It's just a staple of Dungeons and Dragons. So Really nice artwork. Love that it's both the regular VTT or JPEGs and Fantasy Grounds combined together in one instead of having to make two separate purchases. And I think this is really cool. And Angela's got instructions here to help you get started, so it shouldn't be that intimidating to use these if you haven't used that kind of stuff before. So check it out under Trollskull Manor and Pub Battlemap in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the Weird Deck of Mini Wyrds by Gareth Slightholm, and it's $6.88 for 56 pages. It says the Weird Deck of Mini Wyrds is designed to be a campaign-ending artifact. It has been conceived with one sole purpose of turning the world you and your players have created and inhabited together for the last year or several months completely on its head to cause upheavals that make that big bad dragon seem insignificant by comparison, and to attempt to draw your game to a curious close with a series of cataclysmic bangs and equally strange whimpers, all while your players continue to stumble through this new Bashian landscape that was formerly their world of adventure. Draw from the deck. It might be a good outcome, but be prepared. Have you rolled up a couple of spare characters yet? No? Now might be the time. So it's got many interpretations that include outcomes based on die rolls that allow the card deck to generate over 80 outcomes, feeling fresh each time you use it, as well as having each card's artwork set to allow for home printing and laminating. The supplement also covers a set of alternative scenarios as to how your players might stumble across the deck in game, how to have magic using NPC, use the cards or divination, lore surrounding the cards' creation, who made them, why, and how. And then it's got 50 plus pages of DM-focused inspiration, and the cards can be used individually as well. You don't have to use the whole deck just to give you some inspiration. And then here's a little video from the creator as well. So that's fun. Let's take a look at the previews. Oops, I forgot to load that for you. So 56 pages. And so here you've got how to use the deck, and then the individual cards, and then the appendices. So just beautiful artwork in here. This is really stunning artwork. And the artist is also the author. Wow. Great job, Gareth. You're talented for sure. Look at all that. Wish I could make art that good. Okay, so there's the individual cards. Wow, these look beautiful too. So let me scroll back up. So this is the cycle of the deck. So the deck slowly gathers itself in a far off place. You are gifted to inherit the deck. You decide to take the deck into your possession. So it kind of shows what can happen if you get a hold of this deck. So let's look at one of the cards. So this is the Unbarred Way. Drawing this card causes an ancient coin featuring a symbol that represents a simple rectangular door drawn beneath a triangular mountain. So that's this. To appear in the player's pocket. This should be added to your other items list. If shown to certain individuals who recognize its provenance, something the DM might wish to establish or leave mysterious, this coin will often grant access or free passage with those older and more established venues and establishments controlled by factions, secret societies, wizards, sorcerers, cabals, and even royal audiences. It provides a guarantee of one visit of safe passage. This coin's protection lasts for the duration of any such interaction until the party chooses to leave or a party member is discovered to have broken trust with that organization. The coin remains in the player's possession until sold, bartered, thrown away, or given freely to another. It cannot be stolen or lost, barring the intervention of the card, the Sphinx. So very cool. And you can see how, okay, so that's represented on this card art here. It's seen. And then down here, you got another one with kind of this angelic figure in the background. It says the patron, king of diamonds of coins. Your current or next patron is influenced by a wager between an ancient deity of fortune and a trickster god from the region you are passing through, have both been watching your progress with interest. Roll any die. Take odds or evens. Odds, your patron becomes a double dealer who secretly works against you on behalf of a trickster god and their agents in the world. So kind of messes with your patron for rolling on odds here. So yeah, I think these are really fun. I love the artwork. And yeah, you could print and laminate these and make it like an actual deck. I wish you could publish things that actually print as cards on DM's Guild, but they don't allow that currently. So, but you can make your own. You know, the way the printers are these days, you can make your own with this. So that's really exciting, and lots of good concepts already just in the 2 cards. We only looked at 2 cards, and this is a whole deck of cards. And this creator's talented because they've written all the words that we read and done all the art. So I mean, even just look at this cover, how gorgeous this is. And you don't often see that. I mean, these are the actual cards that we saw, right? A lot of times when you have people that aren't the artists making these books, they don't have the luxury of having the items shown in all the pictures as well as individual pictures of the items. So it's nice when you have a creator that's the writer and artist that you can get that kind of quality. So check it out under Weird Deck of Many Words in the links below and give it a click. And that's our last DM's Guild title for this week, so we're going to move on to Drive-Thru RPG. But before we do, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. We'll respond to all those comments. Share the video out so we can spread the word about all these great titles. Click those links in the video description. Help support all these great creators. And a small, tiny percentage goes to the channel, whether you buy any of those creations or some other book while you've clicked on those links. And if you're feeling especially nice, consider purchasing one of our books. You know, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets just came out this week. It's a great price. It's got loads and loads of player options as well as stuff for DMs, and it connects perfectly with that Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, so it's a great time to grab that. We've still got Feywild Companion out there, 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs with full adventures, monsters, subclasses, items, everything you could need to get Feywild. And then Potions Unlocked, all about potions. Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, everything you need for lineages. All of these are linked in the video description as well. So please click on those and support the channel and grab yourself some great content. All right, on to Drive-Thru RPG. First up with Drive-Thru RPG, we have 6 mountain locations. It's a series of VTT maps. It looks like there's 20 of them from Map Alchemists. And it's on sale for $7.95. It says get your hands on 6 incredible mountain location battle maps, each of them set in a rocky landscape, perfect for an ambush and high-pace action. Maps are Roll20 ready. Just drag and drop for a huge 40-inch plus map for action in your game. The maps also have smaller and high-resolution formats so you can print or use in your VTT. And they can be joined together to create a huge 40 by 120 inch map. And they're amazingly detailed, high quality images. All right, so scrolling down, you can see they do have some high quality to them. I like this. This looks like a clearing of some sort with some standing stones inside a mountainous area. And I can see where you could join these together because this is part 1 and this is part 2. And then you've got part 3, starting to see some moss or other grassy material on the land here. And then you've got a pool and a bridge. And then yeah, you can join them all together to be seamless. So that's pretty cool. I like the graphics. So yeah, this could be fun. Maybe you have some sort of mountain adventure. Some of the Forgotten Realms adventures that have come out for 5th edition this could work with, or maybe something of your own homebrew creation. But very detailed, looks like fun, and quality stuff. So, and I like the fact that you can join some of them together. That's a nice bonus. So check it out under 6 mountain location maps in the links below. Next, we have Amazing Encounters and Places Preview, the Sky Isles. So this is from CZ RPG or Christian Zook, and you might know Christian. Christian's released a lot of titles. We've covered some of them on the DM's Guild, and this is a free preview for Christian's quick Kickstarter that's going on right now for a full book based on what you see here. But what's nice about this free preview is that it gives you a single location that you can get the lore and the plot for. You've got 46 pages in the preview, so that's a significant size preview. You don't always get a lot of pages in some of these Kickstarter free previews. You get 7 encounters, 8 maps, 9 new creatures, and 1 new item, all for free. So I really felt like this was a must include this week. Definitely look at the layout here. It looks very nice. All the detail on the sky isles here, which looks to be like some floating islands, so it looks really fun. You've got a stat block with a character here, and a map over here with some points of interest. And then look at all these fun maps, and you can see the map of the Sky Isles here. So, and then it goes into detail about the final product. That's, you know, they're kickstarting right now, but I know you've probably picked up some of Christian's work before, because Christian has released quite a few titles on DM's Guild, and I saw this and I thought, this is great because it's 46 pages for free. In fact, I need to put it in my cart so I can get my copy, and I'll do that after I'm done with the video. But look for it under Amazing Encounters and Places Preview in the links below. Give it a click, check it out. It might be a Kickstarter worth backing too for you. Next, we've got Book of Evil, which has a really evil looking cover. It's kind of fun, from Lore Master's Archives of Wonder for $9.99. It's 50 pages for 5th edition, and seems to be a book centered on helping you with the evil alignment, and it has a variety of things in it to express that, because you know, we're used to the kind of the good alignment, but evil can be harder to role play for people. Maybe easy for some, but it's not. It's more broad strokes for people. And this, I think, this book, from what I've seen so far here, is going to help you express it in a more nuanced way. So let's read a little bit of the description here. Throughout your adventures, in whatever world you call home, you may encounter monsters and people who have evil in their hearts. Not many people can agree on what evil actually is. Could it be the absence of good? Could it be the intention to harm others without just cause? Maybe it's the lack of a soul, or just the lack of morals. Whatever your definition, the existence of evil presents unique opportunities for heroes to rise up to become legend as they fight against the evils of the world. But what if you were evil? What if you had that evil in your heart and your intentions? This book helps you find the evil in your heart and cultivate it and mold it and turn it into your source of power. This book will also teach you how to help evil prosper through joining malicious forces with others of evil persuasions. So leaning way into the evil here, but that's a legit alignment in D&D, right? So it makes sense. And I would say that you could probably apply this to NPCs as well. So even if you're not role-playing a PC that's evil, I'm guessing this book could give you some options for evil NPCs, villains, big bads, all that good stuff. So let's take a look inside and see what Dev Waslewski has written for us in this one. So we've got, always with this publisher, you've got gorgeous pages. So here, looking at the table of contents, they've got what is evil, running an evil campaign, PC motivations, how to murder NPCs, battling heroic NPCs, and then you've got a bunch of subclasses, and then vile inventory, which is a bunch of magic items, and then malicious spells, and then blood rituals. So things like afflicting whispers, dollbind, gibberish, noxious pulse for the spells, and then for vile inventory you've got deck of many horrors, specter scepter, and on the archetypes you've got things like crimson knight, the heathen. So fun stuff. And then here's a little bit on the what is evil, running an evil campaign, motivations. So we'll look at more of this in detail in a second, but see, it's beautiful as usual. Get to see, so they've got an artificer subclass, the animator, so that's good. Fun title. You can see like a Dr. Frankenstein type character made with that. It says battling heroic NPCs here. It says evil motivation potential trait. So let's look at this. So the first one, the motivation is power. It says you seek to accumulate power, whether politically, magically, or other forms of influence and domination. You may want to take over the world or to gain enough power to do as you please. Power can come in many forms, whether it's learning dark secrets of the arcane or even accumulating weapons that can't be matched. So it's just a power motivation. And then let's look at another one. We have ego down here at number 6. You have an image to keep up or have something to prove. When you have a chance to prove your worth, you take it. You could even feel like you are the antithesis to the heroes and the good in the world, as your ego gives you a diluted sense of grandeur that you feel compelled to follow. No matter what, you have a creed or statement that you want others to hear, understand, and accept no matter the cost. So very cool. Helpful. You could see how that could be applied to NPCs or PCs, right? And so, nice, interesting take on it. So we'll read a little bit here, and it says, running an evil campaign. Hello, game masters of evil. Welcome to the Book of Evil, a brilliant compendium with villainous intentions. If you're reading these words, you're of course interested in running an evil campaign, or you're at least flirting with the idea of such a thing. Running a heroic campaign is easy. Everyone loves heroes, apparently, but you know which characters go down in legend, the fully fleshed out evil villain. And as a game master, you usually play the villain. Not anymore. It is time for the game master to be a force of good in their world. Flip the script and create a hero or heroic organizations, a faction for good, a peacekeeper force, or even a holy and good divine Templar. Just as you make an evil villain or group, you can apply the same principles to your heroes. So, I think it's fun. It's probably an untapped area. And as usual with Dev Wazlewski and Lore Masters Archives of Wonder, it has a fun visual look to it. So check it out under Book of Evil in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Curse of Dalen's Vigil. It says it's a spooky adventure setting by Souls Rolls. It's $5 for 15 pages and it's for 5th edition. It's intended for characters of levels 1 to 5. It is a seasonally themed spooky adventure centering around a cursed swamp haunted by the ghost of an ancient warrior. The module is written to support all 3 pillars of adventure, and it features extensive use of rumor and secret tables, allowing you to seed additional content in your game spinning off of this central adventure. So that's fun, and I like that it's kind of Halloween themed. So you get to see 2 of the 15 pages in the preview here. And let's see, it says, here's the general outline, and then you've got the big picture, the history. So it says, Dalen's Fall is a source of many potential adventure hooks, which are chronic well strewn alongside orc war gear spread throughout the swamp. There are many treasures to be plundered from this sodden gravesite. Humanoids of all sorts are drawn here, hired or driven by desire for glory and wealth of their own accord. So that's good. Good setup there. Roxpathanor's treasures and the loot from the orc kingdom that slew his undead minions is a mighty lure. Dalen's Vigil, I don't know why I keep saying visual. Dalen's Vigil holds much to appeal to the wanderer. A site of many comings and goings, there are stories and history richly hanging in the misty air. The folks of this remote town are themselves enigmatic and alluring, with mystery and rumor swirling around them. A hero might find themselves in town on an errand, guarding a caravan, or perhaps chasing down a ghost story of their own. So, very cool. I think it's a fun little setup. Lots going on, and it even said, with Draconic well strewn alongside orc war gear. So with Fizban's Treasure of Dragons coming out this week, there's going to be people doing dragon stuff. So this could tie into Halloween and dragons, it looks like, and just seems like it has a lot of directions you can go. So check it out under Curse of Dalen's Vigil in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Curse of the Sunken Castle. It says, explore a castle that fell into the sea and defy the wild magic that killed its residents. With a fun little picture here. It looks like a castle in the sea. It's from Torchlight Press, $5.99. Author is Addison Short. It's 55 pages for 5th edition. And it says it's an adventure for 3 to 7 characters at a 7th to 8th level. It's optimized for 5 characters with an average party level of 8, though characters of 7th level can survive this adventure if they are extremely cautious and rest between encounters. The setup is the characters are asked by a local mage to track down a group of explorers that have gone missing on a recent expedition. The adventure begins on a remote island that makes escaping from it impossible. However, this adventure can easily be transported to any coastal region. It says Paramus, otherwise known as the Sunken Castle, is a massive structure haunted by aberrations that were once humanoid researchers. Decades ago, Paramus was subject to a burst of wild magic that tore the castle from its original location and deposited it atop a rocky outcrop in the sea. The surviving inhabitants did their best to adapt to the castle, but lingering magic from the planar shift wrought horrific changes on their bodies, eventually claiming their lives. Pandora Blair is an academic that's been trapped on the island for several years. She's been observing the unusual magic activity surrounding the island, trying to find a way to escape. She recently sent a research party to an anomaly in the northern bay. They had been gone for over a week, and so she asked the characters to set out on a rescue mission. On their quest to find the lost explorers, the characters may find more than they bargained for. So interesting kind of locale with the Sunken Castle. So you get to see all 55 pages. That's very kind. Let's zoom in here and see if we can see a little bit more. Looks like it's centered for some reason, so I can't get the scroll bar over there. That's all right. We'll use this size here. We can see a little bit. So, yeah, you get to see the whole book. I mean, this one is definitely one that you should, if you're in the market for modules, you should at least look through and see if it's going to work for you. I'm intrigued already by this map. You can see here they've got basically an elevation map showing you all the floors of this castle. So 17 different floors. And that's interesting. You don't see that a lot. And explains what's on each of these. So you got sewers, mortuary, dungeon, etc. Some nice graphics in here as well. Easy to read. Yeah, I'm not going to scroll through the whole book, but let's go back up and look. They've got a wandering monsters table. They've got exploring the castle table. Chaos storm hazards. Says, all right, so here's Pandora Blair hiring you, and here I'll read some of the flavor text. It says, I need your help. My crew sailed out to a castle that simply appeared in the northern bay, and they haven't returned. There were 5 of them, and it's been nearly a week since they left. You seem to be the most capable people on this island. Can you help? And it says, if the characters want to hear more or leave an opening for Pandora to keep talking, she adds, the castle in the northern bay is radiating wild conjuration and necrotic magic. It's clearly not from this island, but I suspect it may provide valuable information about our entrapment here. If nothing else, it might contain supplies to make surviving here easier. So when I like that the author has given you not just the first read aloud text, but a second one if the character keeps talking. You don't often see that, and I like that. It always helps DMs feel more comfortable to have that prep there. So very helpful. Looks fun. I like the setting, the concept. I'm wondering how these people are eating on this floating island. Hopefully that's in here somewhere. Maybe there is some lots of food stores or something, but I mean, I don't know how many canned goods they have in a fantasy setting, but maybe they're eating off of creatures or something, but or maybe because they're monsters, they don't need to eat the same way. I don't know, but it's so fun with all the pictures I'm seeing through here and the map of the castle. So I think you can have a lot of fun, and you can even just use parts of it. You don't have to run the full module. Maybe there's some fun little NPCs in here, like Pandora seems pretty interesting, and there's some tables that you could use for other things as well, or just even repurpose them after you've run the module. I mean, that's always something I look for in modules, even though I'm not DMing these days. Is what is the reusability of it? Are there tables in there that I can repurpose later? Are there characters in there that I can repurpose later? So this seems to have some of that, which is nice. So check it out under Curse of the Sunken Castle in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Eye of the Storm by Joseph Moore. It's also by Old School Role Playing, according to the publisher name here. It says it's for OSR or OSRIC, and it's got a pay what you want suggested price of $3. And it says it's an OSRIC adventure for characters of 3rd to 5th level. The sleepy little coastal village of Seamist has a problem. A ship bringing important goods to the village is overdue. A major storm hit the coast earlier in the week, and the village elders wonder whether the ship wrecked on the dangerous rocks nearby. But something far more sinister has occurred. So this adventure already bears some similarities to the one we just looked at, which is nice. I know one is OSRIC and the other one's 5th edition, but you could probably convert one or the other to the other system. And I always like to point that out because I want to help DMs out there craft campaigns and see similarities between books, combine them together, and support multiple creators at once. Make a very unique campaign. I mean, maybe nobody else has combined these two books into sort of a campaign, and this one seems to fit the 3rd to 5th level, so it could be the precursor to the one we just looked at, because that one's 7th to 8th. I know the levels are different because this is OSRIC and the other one's 5th edition, but still, crafty DMs can convert these things, right? So I like to point that stuff out. Let's take a look. Inside, you get to see 6 of the 18 pages, and gives you some links in here, information for the game master, random encounters tables. So that's good. Key to the southern coast, key to the adventure. So lots of good setup information. So let me read here. For the game master, the village elders will reward the adventurers if they find out what became of the ship and bring back the goods found aboard. Whether they bring back goods or not is up to the adventurers. Should they bring them back, the elders will pay the group 500 gold pieces. The goods are worth far more than the sum, but selling them in the village would not be advisable. And then it gives you other options that might happen there. And then it says, key to the adventure. The ship has a huge hole in its side. The hole is still partially in the water, and the bottom level of the ship is mostly submerged. The upper deck is completely dry. One could enter the ship by climbing onto the deck from the beach, by entering through the hole into the middle level, or entering the hole into the lower deck. As the lower deck is underwater, one would need to go underwater to enter that level. The entire ship leans toward the hole in the side of it and towards the water. And then it's got some more details on the locations. But like the previous adventure, there's something on the sea that has been wrecked a little bit, right? So you could make the cause of both of these adventures tied together if you wanted. Even though both the adventures might explain it, I could see where you could have several adventures kind of rummaging through things that are wrecked on the sea and put those together. But either way, even if you do them independently, this and the previous adventure look like fun. So check this one out under Eye of the Storm and give it a click. Next we have FlexTale Solo Adventuring Toolkit, Rules and Resources for Solo RPG Play by J. Evans Payne. And this has already sold over 100 copies in its first week because it's a bestseller seller. So that's a big deal. It's got 5-star ratings, and it claims to be compatible with all these systems. So you've got 5th edition, 3.x, so 3.5 or 3, OSRIC, Dungeon Crawl Classics, Pathfinder 1 and 2. And I'm going to read more about why it's compatible with that. But it's from Infinium Game Studios, $9.99 on sale, normally $19.99, 588 pages. So it's a significant work. It says, this book aims to be the most complete, most comprehensive, most innovative authority on solo tabletop role-playing game adventuring ever produced. After more than 30 years of gaming, both old school through to today's most popular systems, the Solo Adventuring Toolkit culminates a lifetime's passion for the hobby into a massive volume that can be instantly useful to any gaming group in any context using any rules system. Although superbly complex, It's infinitely flexible and can be used immediately with zero preparation or exhaustive reading beforehand. Its hundreds of tables, tools, and techniques can be used in infinite combination, powering the creation of endless solo adventuring content. So with over 580 pages and more than 1,000 rules, tools, templates, and other resources that can be used to run any pen and paper RPG as a solitary person. So I think that's really cool. I would love to dig into this book and look at it in detail, because being able to run any pen and paper game, that's huge. A lot of people would like to play and they can't find a table, or maybe they have a pen and paper game that they just can't find anybody playing. So having this to help you do it without other players is really cool. So it says it has over 660 tables, over 80 flex tables, each one which is 4 tables in one. And I've seen some of their other books. I think we covered one on this channel in the past episodes. This is the 26th one, so we've covered 40 per episode. That's a lot of titles we've covered, so forgive me if I don't remember every single one, but I know I've at least looked at them because I've seen the design of the flex tables, and I really like how they do the flex tables. So I think it was on this show, but it might have been me just looking at it too. Over 420 optional rules adjustments, from minor tweaks and house rules to game-changing capabilities. 28 exhaustively detailed plot templates, detailed discussions on party composition and multi-classing, hundreds of content variations recognizing the difficulty between one player, one character, and one player, multiple characters approaches to solo play, dozens of generator tables, complex but easy to use balance point handicap system, hundreds of rewards and penalties, dozens of pages of exhaustive indexes. I mean, it just goes on. This book, 588 pages. It's a lot. So you can see here, this is showing, travel pace and a table to roll the outcome of your pace of travel, which I can see how that would span across all these different pen and paper games, because if you roll a 1 on the D20, it's a slog, and if you roll a 20, you can pick whatever you want, which is appropriate for solo. And then 18, which is the last one that's kind of described as opposed to letting you pick, is forced march. So that would be, pretty quick movement. And then down below this table, it kind of describes what each of those means. So it's very helpful. And then you've got age, all the things about being a child all the way to venerable and what that means. And then you've got attitude here, everything from enemy to ally. And this is the flex table where they've got A, B, C, and D. And so it says use context A by default for an ordinary level of challenge if no other context applies to the circumstances. Use context B for wild and dangerous wilderness. Use context C for relatively safe or known transit. And use context D if you wish for an advanced level of difficulty. So you see how with the roll numbers here, each one changes. So A, the first line is a 1, B is 1 to 2, C is not even available at number 1, and then D is 1 to 4. So they're basically making it easier or harder to get certain results based on what type of context you're after. So that's why this table becomes flexible, is rather than them just having column A here and then leaving it and then forcing you to maybe make your own adjustments. They're acknowledging, okay, you might be in a situation where you're in the wilderness, or where it's supposed to be easier based on what you're reading in this pen and paper module or whatever you're trying to run by yourself. And so they're giving you all the columns here, and they color code it, which I think is helpful too. And then here's some information on determining the plot structure, everything. You could get lost in this book because it's just got so much stuff you can read about. And here's a whole template for a plot with a flow chart. It's just really great resource, and almost 600 pages for $10 is just unheard of. So the price is also quite attractive. 30 pages in the preview, so you can scroll through and see those. You've got all the people involved. It looks like this was a Kickstarter situation. The forward, and then table of contents going through solo quests, rules adjustments. I mean, everything. It's the table of contents is 5 pages, 6 pages. Well, more than that. Yeah, lots of pages. Let's put it that way. So, I think this is definitely. Oh, and they have a whole section on each type. So this is the Pathfinder and 5th edition section. Okay, so they've got even some of the tables are kind of for specific systems, so that's super cool. Little logos they're using to help you see things. Like here's a quick start hallway encounter with the flex system, so you can have no encounter all the way to a combat encounter, or roll twice and have 2 encounters. Lots of options. Well, I think this is really valuable. I could see people using this for solo. You might even, with 588 pages, you might even find some tables you can extract and use for non-solo play as well. I'm really impressed with this. I think it's fun, and like I said, I'd love to look at all of it. But there's 30 pages here you can read through, and then there's a bunch they have on the catalog description. So click the link for FlexTale Solo Adventuring Toolkit for yourself, so you can come look at all this stuff and consider, especially while it's on sale, because you know, getting 588 pages for $10, that's a good price. All right, next we have Fey Fen. It says Adventures in Moldy Mabel Marshtooth's Mansion. It's a short-side adventure for 4 to 5 characters of 3rd to 4th level by Goblin Scrawl Games and PG Perello. And the suggested price is $2.95 on Pay What You Want. It is for 5th edition. 10 pages. Says a green hag has been terrorizing a small village, and they stand on the brink of starvation. In spite of the great risk, a few brave folk track the hag back to her lair, a decrepit mansion in a nearby swamp. Unable to deal with Mabel themselves, they ask the characters for help. So there's a short adventure for 4 to 5 characters, a map of Mabel's mildewed mansion, and stat blocks for the monsters, as well as unnumbered map that you can use for VTT. And then notice that there's a bundle of other adventures with, a really low price, only $3.50 for 4 different adventures. And one of these, Mysteries House of Tea, we've covered before. Maybe the others too, I don't know. Like I said, this is the 26th episode with 40 titles each, so minimum 40. So we've covered a lot. Yeah, looks like it could be a real fun one. Let's look inside. And with the Wild Beyond the Witchlight and all the Feywild stuff going on, Feywild Companion, you could plug this in easily with those books, because it's got hags, which is Fey related, right? Hags are Fey. So let's look through here. You got 5 of the 10 pages, so you get to see half the book, and they've got some fun little maps here. Very cool, and some artwork here. Looks nice. They got the points of interest spelled out, and some information to read to the players. So we've got Adventure Hook. The town council offers to pay the characters if they can eliminate the hag. And then under keyed locations, the first one, here's the flavor text. It says, a small dirt path leads through the foul-smelling waters of the fen. The mansion seems to rise straight from the water, and in many places that is true, as the waters of the bog have crept right up to the walls of the once magnificent home. Dead or dying trees stand on small specks of land or have fallen over entirely, slowly sinking into the marsh. Tree roots grow up out of the soil, threatening to trip anyone who doesn't watch their step. Strands of reeds and knots of weeds and vines grow around and up the side of the house as if trying to pull it down into the swamp. A wide set of stairs leads to a columned stone porch with large and ornate double doors providing access to the hag's lair beyond. And then outside of the flavor text, it says, "This is what Mabel calls home. She has no sentries, and there are no traps or tricks to keep intruders out. In fact, she wants people to enter her home. The doors aren't even locked." So Moldy Mabel Marshtooth is the hag here in this story, and she's kind of laid a trap a little bit by having the door just be ready to be opened by anybody who wants to enter her mansion and see what's going on. And you got a map of the mansion, and yeah, it looks like a fun time with this hag, and it's a pay what you want. So you could pay $2.95 or another price. I do recommend paying something to support the creators, but check it out under Fey Fen. Next, we have The Sorrow of Alfblot, and it's from Top Table Productions for $2, and Laura Mickle is the author. It's 9 pages for 5th edition. It says it's a Halloween special. It's 2 to 4 hour adventures that can easily be implemented into your campaign for level 1 to 4. It's got 2 spooky battle maps, a town map, and adventure hooks as well. And I tried to click the full-size preview earlier, and it wasn't working, which is not uncommon. That happens a lot. It happens to me. I have to try quite a few times, a lot of times, to get the previews on my books to work. So if you're watching Laura or Table or publisher here, check it out, see if you can get that working for people, because I'm sure they'd be interested in looking at it. And probably by the time you click the link, it will be ready for you. That's typically what happens. So we've got The Sorrow of Alfblot, the adventure summary here with adventure hooks. Looks like they have some read aloud text, always helpful. I like this map. You can see kind of the whole little area of the town. So this looks really fun. Looks like it could be perfect for Halloween. So hopefully you'll check it out. It's only $2 for an adventure. Yeah, I like the cover too. It's got that kind of moody Halloween look. And so click the link, and Top Table may have fixed the full size by the time you've clicked it, because I do notify all these creators as soon as the video goes live. So they a lot of times have a chance to fix it before you click. Okay, so look for Halloween special, Sorrow of Alfblot, in the links below, and give it a click. Hoards of Darkness by Ryan Lewis, Baron D. Ropp, and Dungeon Masterpiece here. It is a pay-what-you-want title with a suggested price of $5.99 for 31 pages. It says, have you ever wanted to run your 5th edition tabletop sessions into a hack and slash style video game like Devil May Cry, Torchlight, or Diablo? With this supplement, you have the tools you need for wilderness encounters, dungeon encounter creation, treasure generation, magic shop generation. With these tools at your disposal, your game will feel radically different than the typical RPG experience. And then they have a video on it as well, so that's something you'll want to take a look at. And let's take a look inside. So you get to see 4 of the 31 pages. I like the cover. It's got a fun little skeleton person on the front. And it says how to use the supplement. It's always awesome when we as Dungeon Masters can replicate the mechanics or themes found in video games we love to play in our tabletop roleplay experiences. Unfortunately, all too often those mechanics replicated pound for pound lead to a grueling and unfun game for our players. However, concepts found in hack and slash adventure style games can easily be retrofitted into a TTRPG experience, especially into 5th edition. So very fun. So it says, what's different? In a hack and slash adventure video games, there are a number of differences from a typical tabletop RPG which need to be addressed. Visibility. To replicate the limitations of a video game's interface and thus the apparent truncated vision of the player characters in these games, the visual distance of the player characters must be truncated using a narrative excuse. Within the confines of a dungeon, this is obviously handled by the dungeon walls themselves. In exterior environments, however, another excuse must be made. Player characters shouldn't be able to see much more than the width of your table's battle mat, or roughly 120 feet. This could be due to a mysterious haze that obfuscates vision at a distance, an unnatural darkness which creeps in as if from nowhere, or any other excuse. Doing this has become unobvious has some unobvious advantages. Not only will it protect randomly generated monster hordes from being sniped, kited, and picked off, which while entertaining in a video game is monotonous and grueling on the tabletop, but also allows you to constrain the awareness of your players and help the monsters move into tactical positions. And then it talks about how monsters are different and treasure is different, and then procedural generation. So that's cool. All this information says 1d60 is as confusing as 1d100 when first encountered. Instead of rolling two 10-sided dice with one usually indicated a tens position, this 1d60 nomenclature asks the dice roller to roll a d6 as the tens column and a d10 as the ones column of a number. As a result, a 1d60 generates a number between 11 and 69. Other dice may be described similarly, like a 1d40 generating numbers between 11 and 49. So that's interesting. I haven't seen that mechanic before, where they're taking advantage of rolling two different types of die to create a new kind of structure and using the ones and tens position. That's fun. And they've got all kinds of variations on that in here. So even just those mechanics could be useful to spice up your game, get something different going on. And a lot of these games, people love them, and they're looking for ways to experience them on the tabletop. So I think this could be a really fun option. So check it out under Hoards of Darkness in the links below and give it a click. Next we have House of the Exorcist, a harrowing adventure 5,000 years in the making. It says, adventure compatible with 5th edition and suitable for character levels 3 to 4, and includes conversion notes for Pathfinder 1, 2, Beckme, 2nd edition, and 1920s Cosmic Horror games. So that's huge. All those conversion notes for free, because this title is $0, folks. That's really good. It's got a lot of authors, chief among them being Bart Winetz, and it says, fell forces tore the House of Exorcist from the very fabric of reality, causing it to forever drift beyond time and space. When the stars align, the house finds its way back to the land of the living, perching upon some lone hill or lurking amidst a bleak forgotten moor. Invariably, it then attracts the lost and the damned who flock like moths toward a midnight flame. Few dare cross its threshold, and fewer still return from its harrowing halls with their body and soul intact. Tonight, the stars are right, and the House of the Exorcist has emerged from the black beyond into your very own world. This humble document represents the fruit of a collective or a collaborative effort which allowed the author to connect with some incredibly talented, kind, and imaginative people. As a pure labeler of love, the House of Exorcist is entirely free and will remain so in perpetuity. My fellow writers, and I sincerely hope you enjoy playing it. It says, since the Exorcist's dread abode tends to mystically materialize in any dimension, time, or place, it is likely to attract unwitting victims. The demonical dwelling can be introduced into almost any RPG setting or campaign. It lends itself particularly well to settings featuring dark or heroic fantasy, and even 1920s pulp action or cosmic horror settings. Yeah, I could see this being applicable across a lot of games. So very cool. So let's take a look inside. So you get to see 5 of the 18 pages in the preview. So you've got information on the location, you got some hooks and some minor events and minor items, aftermath. Yeah, it looks fun. Okay, harrowing hooks. While the characters might stumble across the freshly manifested house and decide to explore its chambers on a whim, there are those who would intentionally seek to brave its extra-dimensional dangers. Consider the following hooks. So, doom foretold. When the strange house appeared on the hill, a terrible blight fell upon the land. The crops began to wither. Calves were born deformed, and pale white locusts infested every home. The old legends claim this house is part of an ancient infernal prophecy, and its appearance heralds the end of the age of mortals. In order to undo the prophecy, however, we must first learn what it says. Dare the characters cross the dread house's black stone threshold and search its chambers for clues to avert impending doom. So, and then it says the goal of this adventure is to find the prophecy stone in location 5. So each of these hooks has kind of a different goal, because I'm looking at the next one. It says the goal of this adventure is to defeat the pack of shadowhounds in location 6. So that's a cool technique with the hooks. I like that. And then this minor events table, minor items. So we'll just read one of the minor events. It says, peals of thunder echo throughout the house as a dark portal suddenly opens overhead, disgorging the broken body of an ancient warrior before closing again. So that's a moody kind of random event that can happen. Yeah, so fun stuff in here. The map's cool. I'm liking everything I'm seeing. I'm going to grab it because it's free and it looks like a fun title to have. So 2 things in my cart to grab when I'm done recording for you guys. But you guys should look for it under House of the Exorcist in the links below. Give it a click and grab it, especially since it's free. Next we have Keepers of the Pale Flame by MT Black. Already a best silver seller in its first week. And it's only $2.95 for 44 pages. So that's a lot of pages for that price. And MT Black is very well known. Has done a lot of DM's Guild titles that are well known and highly regarded. So when you see MT Black, it's definitely something to take note of. And already got some great quotes on the experience here. And it says, unravel a haunting mystery in this adventure. For generations, the lighthouse at Weeping Point has protected ships from the dangerous coastal shoals, but 3 keepers in quick succession have been lost to strange misfortunes that no one now dares enter. Our heroes must unravel the bizarre mystery before people perish. So I just have to say, like, recording this video, this is like the 3rd or 4th one we looked at that has coastal mysteries, right? How cool is that? Is that collective subconscious or collective unconscious, whatever you want to call it? And I love that when that happens, when we get these kind of themes that we didn't intend to have, but here they are. So you could take this, the other adventures, and what's beautiful is this one appears to be for 1st through 4th level characters, and then we've got the other ones, I think was 4th through 5th, and then the other one was 7th through 8th. So you could string them all together and just have this whole like Scooby-Doo mystery team going through all these coastal mysteries and resolving them. And that would be a really unique campaign that nobody's done before. Maybe people will after this video, but I can't imagine a lot of tables doing it. So you could make something that is unique with all these adventures, and starting with an MT Black one. I mean, that's going to be fun because MT Black makes good stuff. So it says it's a 4 to 8 hour adventure for 1st to 4th level. So that's great. Let's take a look inside. So you get to see 19 of the 44 pages. So you got the adventure overview, background, hooks, location overview. Here's a fun little map of the town called 𝙏𝙤𝙩𝙡𝙦. Places and people. Yeah, very easy to read. Nice, clean layout. Let's go read some of the summary stuff here. So it says, from time immemorial, the extensive reefs around Half Moon Bay have been the scourge to vessels traveling along the coast. In the days of the Vindian Empire, a tall lighthouse was built on the cliffs at Weeping Point, which lessened but did not eliminate such accidents. Nearly 2 centuries ago, after a series of terrible shipwrecks, a priest from the nearby village of 𝙏𝙏𝙩𝙀 investigated the problem, assisted by the lighthouse keeper. They made a startling discovery. The god of the reef had manifested in a siren form and was calling the ships into the shallows at night. This explained why the bay was so dangerous. The priest studied the matter and devised a bold but grim solution. In the caves beneath the lighthouse, he and the keeper erected an altar to the reef god and performed several rituals upon it, culminating in the sacrifice of a local vagrant. It was a dreadful deed, but the priest rationalized that this one murder would save many hundreds of lives. The result was to send the reef god into a fitful slumber, and the siren calls ceased at night. And the priest and the keeper swore each other to secrecy. The priest further charged the keeper to perform certain rituals to maintain the god at rest. These rituals involved burning specially inscribed candles on the altar every night, as well as occasionally splashing it with the blood of beasts. However, once every 40 years, a new human sacrifice was required. So, great setup. Sacrifices going on. Gods coming around and causing trouble. I like this backstory. Let's see if we can read just maybe. There's all this detail on 𝙏𝙏𝙩𝙀 too, which you can reuse that. Think about reuse, right? get these little towns going. So when they get to Xeric Foxglove's cottage, it says, read this. This neat wooden cottage has a steep thatched roof and a thick field stone chimney that puffs gray smoke. The door is painted blue and makes a striking contrast to the drab walls. So nice moody little paragraph there. And you've got the lighthouse all mapped out, and I like the look of it. It doesn't look like a traditional modern day lighthouse. It's got, very castle-like. So that's fun. Awesome. Yeah, check it out. Like I said, combine it with the other stuff, or even just start with this one and see how your party responds to coastal mysteries. And if they like it, maybe you can check out those other adventures we looked at earlier in this episode and string them all together for just a fun coastal mystery campaign. And it's under Keepers of the Pale Flame. Give it a click. So next we have Killian's Crawls, Adventure Module MX-03, The Curse of Malefax the Mad, and Adventure for level 3 characters. It's by Stuart Killian, and it says it's compatible with Dungeon Crawl Classic, so that's OSR 3rd edition stuff. And what's nice is you can get the PDF for $4.25, but you can also do a soft cover for $9.25, or for just a full $10 you can get the PDF and the soft cover. So it's 51 pages. It says, with the bang of a gavel, your life has completely changed. Selling the magical works of the wizard known as Malefax the Mad has made you wealthier than any of the rulers of the 5 realms. Unfortunately, the works turned out to be as much of a curse as a blessing, because the new owner of the magical research may be behind a plot to embroil the realms in war, famine, and economic ruin. Upset with your potential contribution to nationwide chaos, a group of citizens known as the Committee has tasked you with finding out what the new owner of Malefax's works is up to. Are you prepared to know the truth? So it contains 12 encounters, 6 new monsters, 3 new spells, and 2 new magic items, and it's part 5 in the Malefax the Mad series. So that's fun. So you got the intro, then your encounter table, and then your adventure start. And you've got your outcome table of looks like, okay, this is your checks. So if you do your DC roll, and then the outcomes and the XP. So let's go back up here and find a little bit to read for you. It says, with the crowd departed, the auctioneer leads you to a room in the hall converted to a temporary office. As your entire gathering sits down, the auctioneer opens the metal case. His eyes widen a bit, but he contains himself quickly and mutters, well, this is unusual. He empties the case with great care and counts out 500 finely minted platinum coins, more platinum than most anyone in the entire realm has ever seen. I guess he wanted to travel light, the captain of the security force jokes, chuckling nervously. 2 years have passed and you are enjoying your retirement and luxury, many of you forming guilds, schools of magic, temples, or simply enjoying a quiet piece of land in a spacious home, but the news around you tends to disturb your leisure. The subject is always the same, Almanac. After acquiring the works of Arcanus Malefax, the young handsome wizard built a fortress on the borderlands between the outer lands of Pinecliff and her 4 neighboring realms. Some have reported he has been enslaving the citizens of the varied states and performing horrific experiments and procedures on them, sometimes with the blessing of the rulers, heads of temples, and other wealthy and powerful people. So, starts with you getting funds from an auctioneer, and then fast forwards to you hearing about some disturbing stuff going on. So that's kind of the hook to pull you in. And then you get further into the adventure. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but yeah, it looks like it could be fun, and it's part of a series. So if you end up finding that you like it, you could check out the other ones. They're all from SH Professional Limited, I'm assuming. And I'm guessing they're also all print on demand as well. So could be a fun little series with inexpensive prices here to get your print on demand going. And you can have a little collection on your bookshelf of these as well. So check it out under Killian's Crawls MX-03 in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Legendary Cartomancer by Andrew Stokel from Legendary Games for 5th edition. It's $9.99. And it says, Cards of Power. The Cartomancer is a brand new class for 5th edition. A spellcaster dabbling in every magical tradition as they draw power from a card deck that is equal parts weapon and magical focus. Mystical gamblers and masters of chance, Cartomancers use their cards as tools for weaving spells with decks that may focus on divination, illusion, and mental manipulation. Elements and flora and fauna with a primal deck, raw power of life and death with the divine deck, or the diverse and balanced options of an arcane deck. You'll also find a complete system of card casting with unique card spells like Arcane Erosion, Untouchable Ward, and Bend Nature. For every card in a standard deck that you can heighten and empower by varying number of cards you devote to their power from your mystic hand. So, wow, this sounds really, really fun. What a great idea. Because, number one, it lets you kind of be like Gambit from X-Men, if you've ever watched that cartoon or read the comics. It's a fun character that throws cards and does basically magic type stuff by doing damage with the cards. But I also really like that you can go whatever direction you want. You can be divine with your power. You can be like a cleric. You can be like a druid with the primal deck, or you can be like a wizard with the arcane deck. So it's letting you kind of flex into whichever direction you want to go. And presumably you can use an actual deck of cards in this class to experience it a little bit, like with props. So I'm loving this. I think it's really cool. I wish I'd thought of it. All right, so you've got this table of contents here that shows you, okay, all the class features, and then it goes into the different decks. Yes, and see, they're using the different suits of a normal deck. So you've got hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades. So presumably you can use these cards on your table. So that's really fun. Yeah, I want to get this at some point and read it all. But we're getting to see 6 of the 44 pages. And so let's read a little bit about it. It says, look at the draw. Cartomancers may have to trust to fortune for their abilities moment to moment, but they always have a trick handy. Cartomancers mostly shun heavy armors and mundane weapons, preferring to rely on their magic decks. Each different spell deck provides a different set of powers, so between the luck of the draw and varied ability sets, foes never know what a Cartomancer may do. I love the versatility of this class. I think this is really cool. It says, Cartomancers are rarely settled folks, tending to drift from place to place, seeking wealth, excitement, and love. And the next big thing, you can't win if you don't play. So fun. And you've got card casting. So you can use a deck of playing cards as a tool for weaving spells. You can cast spells, and you can supply card components when casting spells. You always require a complete deck of cards as a focus for casting card spells. Your initial hand size is 5 cards. This increases to 6 cards at 7th level, 7 cards at 15th, 8 cards at 19th, and then there's a whole section on that. And you got spellcasting ability. Charisma is your spellcasting ability. You use your charisma whenever a card refers to your spellcasting ability. Okay. And then, yeah, basically anything, card counting, card reader, all these things that you would associate are in here. It says, I think we might be getting into the subclasses. I'm not sure here, but it says Ace is wild at 5th level once per round. When casting a card spell, you may treat one ace in your hand as being wild. Okay. So it seems like you draw cards too as well. That, I don't know. I think this is really fun and really interesting, and I'm excited. I think this is a great idea, Andrew. So good job writing this. I'm excited to read more about it someday when I grab this. I'm going to add it to my wish list. So check it out under Legendary Classes, Cartomancer, in the links below, and have some fun with the deck of cards at your table. Next, we have Lone, a Game Master and Solo Roleplay Toolkit, powered by Zweihander. So it's by Elijah Roman. $3.99, and it's for OSR Zweihander stuff here. It says, Lone, a game master and solo roleplay toolkit designed to make designing adventures and playing solo simple, fast, and fun. It's a collection of oracles, random tables, and reference guides to simplify how you prepare your Zweihander sessions, as well as how you run your adventures at the table. From simple tables to make Zweihander more accessible, to random generators that will simplify how you plan adventures, name NPCs, and envision your world. So chaos and order oracles, action and theme oracles, monster generators, bestiary reference guide, town and city name generators, random location generators, NPC creation tables. It's just a lot of stuff. The goal of this book is to help game masters and solo role players get into the game fast. It's a salve for the over-prepping GM and a lightweight resource for the solo role player. So I think when they're saying solo role player here, I think what they're talking about is really duet, because it seems like there is a game master and a role player. So just keep that in mind. Might also work for completely solo, but I think this is really more duet play. So still really valuable and fun. You know I love duet. And here's some of the interiors, so you can see a little bit more. It's too small for us to read for you because it's just a quick preview here, but you can already see they've got action and theme oracles. So it looks like it could be a lot of fun and helpful to get you set up to be able to do some duet play. And I could be wrong. This could be entirely solo, but just reading from it sounds like you need a game master and a solo role player, which would be, an individual playing. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, author. But I think it's got some good stuff, and it's good price, $3.99. Get this and expand your options for duet or solo. So check it out under Loan in the video description links and give it a click. Next, we've got Old School Stylish, classless discovery-based advancement, and it's by Chris Ramdeen and Heavy Pepper Games. It's $10 for OSR, of course, 28 pages. It says, let your journey define you. Old School Stylish is a supplement for Old School Essentials, so it's also third edition, I guess it would work for, that helps you build a campaign where players unlock new abilities through play and optionally switch abilities in and out like Final Fantasy jobs. Inspired in part by Wuxia stories, Hong Kong action cinema, and Japanese RPGs, the supplement will help you put a very different spin on your OSR campaigns. With Old School Stylish, players don't choose classes on character creation. Instead, the GM places styles across the game world for players to discover. They can learn the way of the Drunken Fist from a martial arts master, mutate telepathic abilities by drinking dubious potions, or invent an entirely new style in the heat of battle. These tools emphasize what happens in the game world rather than what was predetermined at character generation. And it contains write-ups for dozens of styles, each of which contains its thematic abilities that can be used in conjunction with other styles to make for unique, multifaceted characters. The Old School Essentials rules are free. There's a link here for that. So you can get the rules that you need to modify with this book basically for free. So don't be standoffish with this title because you feel like you need another book, because you can get those Old School Essentials core rules for free. And it says basic mechanics for creating characters, magic point-based casting system, guidelines on how to design new styles, optional system for using the supplement without level-based advancement, relying entirely on style discovery, tips on how to seed the styles in your world, including sample ideas, tables for generating martial arts masters, sample mechanics for players, 28 starting styles, descriptions and game abilities for 44 advanced and secret styles, etc. So, very cool. Seems like it could be a fun option to mix things up. There's no preview, so we can't show you inside, unfortunately, but maybe they'll add something before you guys have clicked the link, whether it's a preview here or some images inside the page. Hopefully they will, so you can see some more. But I'm intrigued by the cover and the concept. I think wandering the world and discovering things as opposed to just starting with a sheet that you've got to try to almost memorize, to get going. That could be a good alternative way to start your game and just see how it goes. You might be able to adapt it to 5th edition or other games even. So check it out under Old School Stylish in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Path of the Planebreaker, or just Planebreaker by Bruce R. Cordell, and it's from Monty Cook Games, and it's 5th edition compatible. This is another free title. I already grabbed it because I just love the art so much. I wanted to go ahead and download it. And it's 7 pages. It says, it's a cursed moon hurtles through the multiverse, crashing from one plane to the next, never at rest, forever fleeing a catastrophe that predates existence itself. Behold the Planebreaker. The Planebreaker visits all the planes, all demi-worlds, and all dimensions. Gods and demons, angels and mortals, undead and outsiders alike, all eventually see it streak across their realm. Some worlds visited by the moon are known to sages and planar travelers, but in a multiverse stretching across epochs, the number of previously uncatalogued planes is vast. The Planebreaker races through all of them in time. So you get the shadow-stitched rogue subclass and a peek into the citadel of the Fate Eater, just one of the dozens of planes the Planebreaker opens up to you, both fully playable right now. So this is, I think, another kind of Kickstarter preview, so you can see what's available for Planebreaker, get hyped for it, see if it works for you. And like I said, I downloaded it. There's a subclass in there that looks fun, and information on one of the planes, but the artwork looks really stunning, and I like the multiverse concept, these planes, opening it up to a lot more places to visit than just what's in the 5th edition. So or in Wizard stuff. All those places are great, but it's nice to have additional options, right? So I like it. And Monty Cook, as an author, is very well known, respected, and so I'm sure Bruce Cordell and Sean K. Reynolds are also great. So check this out so you can find out what it is before the Kickstarter either starts or ends. I'm not sure where it is in that state, but get in early, get to check out some of the stuff, get a free subclass out of it. So check it out under Path of the Planebreaker. Give it a click. Next we've got Raisa's Guide to Animal Companions. It says, in a world full of different creatures, why would humanoids be your only allies? A guide to add animal companions to your party. And it's J. Flores Valenzuela is the author, and Yaturi Games. And learn how to befriend the creatures of the wild, tame and train them so that they are as important as any other character in your party. With this guide, your party will have new beast members that will also level up and gain new traits. If you are missing a player in a game, you can now compensate the missing character with any beast. That's fun. I like that. And alternate version of the document for easier readability is available as well. That's cool. So let's look inside. So you've got the class. Okay, so you've got taming, the class features, optional rules. So very cool. And then here's all about the taming. So you're going to see 3 of the 7 pages. Any beast that is not adverse to you can be tamed with a successful skill check by investing time and money into making it friendly. And starting at CR1, the DC would be 12, increasing by 3 on each CR. The tamer will have to spend at 1 week CR to completely tame the beast, plus 10 GP. So per CR, you spend a week plus 10 GP. It just references the time required to interact with the beast and the foods and toys to gain its friendliness. And then it's got a list of the tame creature table stuff here, along with the requirements. You've got initial stats. Yeah, not a lot to see in the preview, but I'm intrigued by the concept. And they don't want to give too much away. It's only 7 pages, so I don't blame them for the small preview. But if there is something maybe interesting, a snippet that you could add as an image in here, that might help, because I think people probably want to see a little bit about the beast powers, maybe, or some of the beasts. But I think it's a really fun option. I mean, who doesn't like having pets and animals and all these fun little anthropomorphic characters? So we got the Heron now. I mean, everybody's into this kind of friendly animal stuff. So I think this could be really fun and useful. And I love the art on the cover. It looks like it's by Felicia Kiesling, and yeah, I like that a lot. So good job on that. And yeah, check it out under Raisa's Guide to Animal Companions in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Rooms with a View, a source book of unique locations, detailed NPCs, rich history, and adventure hooks by Vanishing Goblin. It's $9.99 for the PDF, but there's softcover premium color, softcover standard color, and then various combos to get different pricing. And it looks like $16.99 for the softcover standard color and the PDF, or $26.99 for the premium color with the watermark PDF. And it's on sale right now, so I don't know how long those prices will last. So if you're interested, definitely check it now. It's 5th edition, 92 pages. It says, great locations are the lifeblood of great campaigns. Rooms with a View gives you 12 unique locations that you can drop into any existing campaign to use as springboards to dozens of adventures. Each location comes complete with color maps, detailed NPCs, rich history, and interesting adventure hooks that stimulate your imagination. Cross an ensorcelled bridge into an ancient land, visit a very special inn where the dead continue to watch over the patrons, meet the caretaker of a dead god's resting place, watch a traveling show perform legendary stories, wander through a ghostly city of the otherworldly elves, and explore 7 other locations that will keep your players coming back again and again. So, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. It's 98 pages, so I'm not sure, or where what's going on with the previews. They could be broken, or maybe they just haven't enabled them. I hope if you're watching Vanishing Goblin, consider adding something, because with that many pages, I think there's got to be some stuff you can share. You can even do a publisher preview where you just select chunks and create it yourself and host the link somewhere, and then show the preview. If you're concerned about showing something, giving something away, consider that. Or also understand that when you do your previews, you can start at whatever page you want. So you can start at page 50 and show 5 pages from 50 to 54 or whatever. So you've got options to avoid spoiling too much, and alternatively, you can throw some images in the page here. But I think it would be great, because this sounds really good. I really think people are going to be interested. And it's 98 pages, so that's a lot of stuff. But it does say it includes JPEG files of every map in the PDF for use on VTT, so that's helpful. You've got printed versions. So yeah, all these buying options, people are going to want to see a little more before they engage. So add that stuff. And those of you watching, click the link, because they may have added it before you've clicked the link. So I think this could be really cool. I love the description of some of these. You've got a special inn where the dead continue to watch the patrons. You've got a traveling show that performs. There's a ghostly city of otherworldly elves. So they're all kind of spooky, creative looking places, at least from what I can tell. And the art on the cover is fun. And yeah, I like that they have the buying options here, so you can get these print versions, and the prices are reasonable for that too, especially for the size. So check it out under Rooms with a View in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Town Tables, the Game Master's Town Builder Handbook by Stephen Chabot and Lucky Dice Games. It's on sale for $6.95, and it's 125 pages. It says it's system agnostic, works for Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. And it says, quickly build fascinating and immersive towns, NPCs, and game hooks for your fantasy role-playing game. One of the greatest memes in tabletop fantasy role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, and many others that are played by millions every year is the town experience. No matter the game or group of players, the Game Master will soon be faced with bringing the adventurers to a town for some rest and relaxation. And while there, why not get them involved in the town by letting them interact with a variety of NPCs, explore businesses, interact with the town guard, get involved in the town secret, and so much more. So it says, this is the definitive guide to creating and running towns. Combine bits and pieces in the 100 tables to have a fully fleshed out immersive town. So 100 pages of tables compatible with all types of games, hundreds of detailed descriptions, dozens of quick build tables so you can quickly build a town. And yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a need for a town, right? So let's look. You get to see 18 of the 125 pages in the preview here. And so it's got information on the government, sizes, characters, defenses, sectors of the town, government employees, crime and punishment, guilds, shops and notable places, structures, homes, shop names, common shop items, food menus, NPCs, including like their appearance, stories, adventure hooks, atmosphere like seasons, weather, etc. So lots and lots of stuff. And so you get to see the town government tables and starting with the town names. So there's a whole table here. Looks like 100 different names for the town. And then sizes, talks about Thorpe, Hamlet, village, large town, large city, small city, all that stuff. And then different types of government, everything from anarchy all the way to tyranny. And then the character of the town. So it says, while the day-to-day mood of a town can change based on current events, the general character of a town over a period of time is generally consistent. It is a factor of the government type, how well the populace gets along, and its interactions with the greater world. Knowing the general character of your town will allow you to create properly focused interactions between your adventures and town NPCs. So you've got organized. A town that is organized means it is well set up to handle out of the ordinary events. If a resident's home catches on fire, a bucket brigade will quickly form to help put it out. If a massive storm is coming that will wipe out crops, folks will pitch in to harvest as much as they can before the disaster strikes. If bandits come to town, town folks will volunteer to help the sheriff deal with the problem, etc. And then a tyrannic town, the town is heavily guarded and people walk around with their heads bowed down, not making eye contact with anyone else, just minding their own business. If you try to talk with someone, that person will ignore you and keep walking. No one knows who a spy for the leadership might be. So already, just in this one table, you can see how this could make a big difference, right? The first one was like very benevolent, everybody's helping everybody, very altruistic, and then the second one is like, you know, very anxiety ridden because you're worried about looking at the wrong person. And so those have two totally different feels, and that's just two of the ones in this table. There's 12 different options, and that's just one of over 100 tables in this book. So I think if you are at all building towns or building things as a dungeon master, I think this could be super useful. All kinds of information and tables await you. We've only seen a little bit, but I can just imagine what's in here by looking at the table of contents. I mean, even helping you create NPCs. I mean, just using that to get some NPC stuff going is a good idea. And then you got menus. So even if you just use the food or drink menus for the taverns, so it seems like well-rounded, lots of value, and it's on sale for $6.95. So might be worth grabbing it while it's on sale under town tables in the links below. Give it a click. Well, that's the last title for this week, so please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment, we'll respond to those, share the video out, click those links and support all these creators and purchase something. If you purchase anything at those links, whether it's one of the titles in the video or anything else, a very small percentage comes back and helps the channel. That I really appreciate that. And if you're feeling especially generous, consider purchasing one of our books. They're all listed in the video description, including our newest one, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. It's got dragon-themed subclasses for every single class. It's got draconic gifts, horde magic items, trinkets, backgrounds, a new type of familiar, magic items, adventure hooks for days. You name it, it's in there. It's really the perfect complement to Fizban's Treasure of Dragons. And it works on its own as well. In fact, it's not completely bound to dragons. Several of the subclasses can be used without a dragon involved at all. So even if you're not doing anything with dragons, check that one out. Then of course we got the Feywild Companion, 150 pages of Feywild fun for DMs and players. It's a gold bestseller, which is just crazy good to experience as a creator to get something gold. That's a huge milestone. So happy people are enjoying it. Just a lot to offer in that book. So many things, from subclasses all the way through full-blown adventures in that book. So check that out. And then we've got Potions Unlocked, Fenn Richton's Libram of Lineages. Also a lot of fun. So click those links down below for those books. Check them out. And if you like it, give it a try. I really appreciate it. Helps me, helps the channel, and helps us make more books and keep on going with this and supporting. A lot of the books involve other creators, so I get opportunities to hire other creators when I do that, and of course artists. So you're helping the whole community when you purchase those books, because I'm putting all the profits back into future books as well. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you, all the wonderful creators, for putting out this stuff. I've got to check out my stuff that I put into the cart this time while I was recording. And until next time, happy adventuring.